Woo!
Blog Talk Radio.
He's not me. Yes, I am. I'm much taller. No, you're not. You're fatter, though. No, I'm not. We're the same. We're not the same at all. Yes, we are. No, we're not. Yes, we are.
I'm greater than, lesser than, and equal to the universe. You know, I'm greater than it because I can contain it in my mind, and lesser than it because that's obvious, schmuck. And I'm equal to it because I'm of the same atoms it is. And I always say that what that does for me is connect me to everything and make me a part of it. I earnestly believe that it is all one spirit, all one energy, all one beat, and there are just these different manifestations of it. Because of that, I feel very safe in the universe. I feel very comfortable and very at home because it is only me. And hey, it's only me. Remember that? Hey, it's okay. It's only me. Well, that's what the universe says to me. Nothing of this shit can scare me because hey, it's only me. No fucking problem.
So everything that exists is everything that exists. I am everything that exists. So are you. The more you realize that, the more you open up to the full infinity of who you are.
We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world there's room for everyone, and good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful. But we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men.
That is the problem. That's the crisis. It's not political crisis, economic crisis, or the crisis of war. But the crisis is in ourselves.
The way out of this is the ultimate revolution. It's to be who we are and not what someone else tells us we should be.
Christ, Buddhas, Krishnas, Muhammads, Wavokas, you are all the same as them. Every single one of them said that to all of you. He did not mean follow him in a religious context. He meant be the way I am.
No, you listen to me.
Because you are.
Listen to me.
That way.
Go to yourself, because that's the only place you're ever going to find any real truth. But you sit there day after day, night after night, all ages, colors, creeds. You do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like a tube, you eat like a tube, you raise your children like a tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion.
We have created this society, so we are responsible for that society. But is it possible not to change society, but is it possible to radically, deeply transform our condition, our consciousness, which is what we are? Is it possible?
Still love that. Hey, Freedomizers, Nickie here with you as we rise above dehumanization on this beautiful, beautiful Friday afternoon, February 25th of 2011. And what a beautiful year, 2011. Well, hey, anybody want to call in and join me and my guest today? You can always call 347-324-3704. You can also check out all the hosts at www.freedomizerradio.com. And yes, that is 2 R's in the middle, one for the end of Freedomizer and one for the beginning of radio. And today we're going to be joined by Dr. Will Spencer. He's VMSP, and I want to make sure I say this right, Naturopath? Did I say it right this time?
Sounds better.
Cool. Well, hey. And I guess for starters, because I still love the vibrational energy, all this kind of terminology, especially when it comes to sound and energy within the earth. So you want to explain to people what VMSP is?
Vibrational medical science practitioner, fancy word for energy healer, in my opinion, working with energy. And a lot of different modalities I've been down the path of, and basically they're all working with energy, and it's all the same energy with just different names, and that's my simple rendition of it anyhow.
You're also an author or a researcher. I mean, definitely an advocate for bees and natural healing and people finding abilities within themselves and being able to teach. And, I mean, where does it end for you?
Right. Yeah, I go into walking a lot of different circles lately.
Not a bad thing once you find truth in life. It's kind of hard not to.
Yeah, that's very true.
Very cool. Well, I've been excited. We've talked a couple other times. Friday's a little slow starting off, but come the last couple hours, first hour's a little slow, and then people start getting home, and hey, second 2 hours get really busy, so expect, hopefully we'll be getting some calls in on the second hour, but, man, there's so much to cover. I'd love to start, like, especially with the bees. I've been eating, like, a lot of honey lately myself, just because, I don't know, it's at least a natural sweetener. You don't have to worry about it being synthesized, synthetic, or built in the lab,
good for you.
Know? Go ahead.
I said it is good for you. Well, I had my own bees. I had a few hives a few years ago, and what led me to the whole the honeybee thing. Right after the 2006, they started disappearing. Well, mine disappeared in 2005, and my hives, actually, I was standing in the middle of the hives I had in the orchard where I kept them, and one of the hives just took off. It was kind of a weird thing, and it kind of led me down this path where we are today. Notice that it's on a global scale. They're dying, they're leaving, their hives, they're disappearing. There's a lot of different minds of thought about why, and I think it has more to do with pollution, chemical, industrial agriculture, and also the frequency pollution that we have. But I think more than anything, it's chemically inspired. But because
we get herbicides, pesticides, we get chemtrails, we're being attacked by the water, by the air, by the soil, by just about every direction.
Right, and they have some of these new pesticides they've been coming out with, especially the synthetic nicotine, I can never say that right. Yeah, synthetic nicotine.
You've got to tell me about this.
What?
You've got to tell me about this synthetic nicotine, seriously, because I have never heard of this.
Oh, yeah, it came out in 2006. Bayer Corporation is one of the main producers of that, and ever since they started using that globally, the bees started really having a problem. It shuts down the neurological function of the bee. That's the homing instinct. That's also related to digestion. I mean, it's everything. The electrical system of the bee, which is just like our electrical system, it's basically the whole body. And there's a lot of different theories, but at any rate, for the most part, it's chemically induced, this bee thing, because a lot of the beekeepers I know that are organic or biodynamic, they virtually have no problems. It's most of the larger beekeepers that are migratory beekeepers, commercial. They are using their bees in commercial agriculture that are having most of the problems.
Hi, sorry about that. I had muted my mic. I had a new door installed on my place, and they're doing it next door now. So it's a little loud where I am. I'm hoping nobody can hear too much of it. So it
sounds good here.
That's awesome. That's hopeful then. Seriously, and we don't even seem to realize things like bees and frogs. They're like some of the very first entities that are going to show a major change, whether it be environmental, whether it be just in the air, whether it be in the water. These are some of the initial, like, warning signs, wouldn't you say?
Yep. In times of old, in the mines, they used to use canaries. They would set the birds put the birds in the mine shafts, and as the noxious gases that are coming out of the earth got accumulated or got too thick, they would kill the birds, and then it would be a sign for the people to leave. And basically that's what we're seeing. We're having the bees are sending us a signal, the bats are sending us a signal, all these deaths going on, whatever the source of these deaths, if it's chemical or if it's electrical, atmospheric, or however you want to look at it, that's a sign that something's not right, and we need to do something different. And that's absolutely, it's a definite sign.
It is. It's kind of scary. I mean, we water them with fluoridated water as well, and that alone is a big issue. We seem to think, okay, we won't drink it, but hey, it's okay for everything else.
Right.
Like our tap water, it's poison.
Well, yeah, that's insane. And then what they're like, if you're speaking of water, what they're doing around the Gulf of Mexico with the millions and millions of gallons of oil dispersant they're dumping around the Gulf. They're even dumping it over on the east side of Florida, all the way up towards Georgia, Carolinas. Now I heard the other day, these people are insane that are doing this, but there's really no way of stopping them at this particular point in time, the way I see it.
Yeah, the Gulf Coast thing alone, I mean, we can spend forever on that. But with the water issues, what we're seeing right now is, like what we see the oil giants now getting into water. And here in Texas alone, they bought up a huge amount of property. And just for the natural water springs and everything else that exists there, so they can regulate it. And when they did that, now they're leaching out the water that comes from their property to the cities that surround the area. And it's kind of interesting to see where even commodity prices are going, because commodities alone, like cotton, and then we think the price of the dollar is worth more on the cotton alone is worth more than the dollar, you know?
Right, yeah, because the dollar is so unstable and going away right now. I've heard from some international traders that they're totally amazed that the American dollar is holding as stable as it is. They were looking 2 years ago for the American dollar to take a crash, and they're amazed at how come the dollar is where it is, and like you say, our natural resources are worth more than our money is right now.
Yeah, our gross domestic product has become our debt. It's not even a viable option here now. Now our gross domestic product is people buying our debt. But then again, look at the breadbasket. We don't even grow our own food. Now we grow feed for the animals. We grow the majority corn, also used in high fructose corn syrup. Why do you think they brought that out in the first place?
Well, you just want to head right into the good topics right away, don't you?
Well, what can I say? Food, high fructose corn syrup has been one of my passions. So. Yeah,
well, it's not a food item. To me, it's an industrial waste product. It's not a food item at all. I mean, it's not fit for human consumption or animal consumption at all. It's a toxin.
a toxin to say the least. Most people don't seem to realize the byproduct of the production of high fructose corn syrup seems to be mercury. Wow, that's just what we need. And for those that don't know, like a lot of products have been tested for mercury, not just like mercury within the high fructose corn syrup used in the products, but for the products test positive for mercury alone. And Coca-Cola tested pretty positive for that. For the products, not just the high fructose corn syrup used, but for the product itself to test positive for mercury should really send a lot of people up in maybe some awareness, curiosity, something.
Well, there's a document that I acquired from the EPA, and this was back a couple of years ago. It's 93 pages long, and it listed in there, I forget how many thousand elements were there, and this is just in what's used on pesticides in agriculture. These are the components that are just in the inert ingredient list, which all they have to do is just put inert ingredient on the label of the pesticide, and all these 92 or 93 pages full of elements, you don't have to list them. And almost all of them are industrial waste products of some fashion, and most of them are chemicals. A lot of them are carcinogenic chemicals and heavy metals and all different kinds. You can go to the EPA's website and just put into the search bar inert ingredient list for pesticide, and it should pull up. I know they had it down for a couple of years, and it went from like 2000 to 2005, it went from like 8 pages to 90 pages, and that's one way they're getting rid of a lot of the industrial waste, is putting it on the fields in the form of pesticides as inert ingredients, and a lot of it is heavy metals.
Wow. See, that in itself should say something, because we don't seem to realize the way heavy metals respond in our body. I mean, we always hear, we also hear things like colloidal silver, but people don't seem to realize how fine this metal has to be broken down for the body to be able to safely process it. Do you want to cover that for a second?
Well, yeah, the body is not able to safely process it at all now, because our chelating abilities are virtually gone. From my view of health, anyhow. The chelating ability, or the ability for our body to process the heavy metals and chemicals and stuff from the environment through our body, is gone because we don't have the components to allow it to happen. And the chelating ability comes from the broad diversity of microorganisms from the soil within us, as well as the broad diversity of minerals. And virtually the minerals are void of most of minerals that we need to be healthy. If you look at conventional Walmart food, even whole food market, organic food, you only has between 15 to 18, maybe 20, depending on minerals in them, and we need at least 60 minerals to be healthy and to have the chelating ability, along with this broad spectrum of microorganisms from the soil, and we don't have that. They're not in the food, they're not in us, they're not in the soil, and so therefore when we eat these heavy metals in our food, or when we breathe the heavy metals in the air, or when we get the heavy metal penetration into us through our skin, they stay, and our bodies don't have the ability to get rid of them naturally, and they just accumulate. And then we have these problems of mercury toxicity or cadmium toxicity or, whatever. So we don't even have the ability. And I have found some of these microorganisms and got them in formulations, and I have acquired some minerals and to make them available to my clients and customers, and their bodies then are able to chelate. And we have the ability to do it. We just are lacking the tools so we can chelate and get the junk out.
Most people ignore this. This is all like New Age mumbo jumbo. I mean, for real, we tend to, at least that's the way it used to be. But what I see now is a lot of change. A lot of people are looking back to the original ways because what we've been offered doesn't seem to be working very well.
Right, yeah, 200 years of industrialization hasn't improved anything, really. I mean, you got more conveniences, but along with the conveniences, you've become a slave to the industrial corporate system, and that's just not natural. It's not working. It's not sustainable at all.
That's right, because see, that's what happens. Doctors, or at least the drug companies that give the doctors their treatments, because that's the thing. Doctors can be very, very good at diagnosis. The thing is that once they diagnose, the thing they've been taught is that treatments lie only with the drugs prescribed by the drug companies that promote what's good for the rest of the people. So it's not that what doctors are necessarily doing is bad, it's just they've been misinformed. Or disinformed, like a lot of the rest of the population.
Right. It's the people, it's the industry of pharmaceutical that teach the doctors their knowledge in the schools, because, I mean, they learn from books like what's called the Merck Manual, which is a pharmaceutical industry, and you're right, they have awesome diagnostic capabilities. I mean, that's one thing the medical system has done a really good job at, but their way of helping people is really limited because they only have pharmaceutical or drug or synthetic components to treat these things with, and if they don't do that,
And that interest lies in bringing the customer back.
Yeah, it's evolved into a sickness care perpetuating business and really not a health care system at all.
Yeah, and see, that's the one thing. Like I said, it's all funded by lobbyists, by the same that control the government. Is the majority, and now with the Supreme Court ruling that corporations can exist as individual entities, meaning they can contribute to, say, political campaigns unlimited. Before they were limited in the amount because they were a corporation and not an individual. But now the Supreme Court says they can donate unlimited money to campaigns. Wow.
Right. About 5 years ago, when I lived in Minnesota, there was a bill coming up that was going to limit naturopaths, and only we couldn't use naturopath, we couldn't use doctor, we couldn't use any of that unless we went to a sponsored school. There was only like 3 or 4 in the country, and a bunch of us didn't go to those schools. We went to different schools. Like most of my learning was out of this country, so I would be not able to use the word naturopath or any of that stuff. So we all formed together a group. We went down to St. Paul, to the Capitol, and we lobbied. And it took a couple of weeks, but we got some bills changed. But we were lobbying right next to a bunch of the nutraceutical or natural pharmaceutical industry lobbyists. They were getting paid anywhere from $75,000 to $120,000 to be there lobbying at the state capitol, right beside us, and that, to me, that's wrong. I mean, here we're defending our livelihood, and then these other people are being paid by the industry to make all these goofy rules that didn't have anything to do with health care other than their pocketbooks. That's it. It had nothing to do with helping people feel good, and to me, that's evil.
Exactly. It's the epitome of evil. It seriously is, and that's what the powers that be are trying to definitely exercise right here and now, is this control grid that seems to keep the people limited in what they consider their own personal choice. Because you're only offered left, right, blue, red, Republican, Democrat. You're not offered any other option. You're either offered the medical course through institutionalized medical systems, or you're considered doomed to die. We don't consider that there's alternatives. That, my God, we've been around a lot longer than our medical system has been.
Right. Well, there's things that are changing real fast in the political realm. The corporate government is on its way. It's having some problems. I mean, the American dollar's taking a dive. There's some counties in Vermont and Maine and Montana and whatnot are issuing warrants for Bush and Obama's arrest if they ever come there for war crimes, and Switzerland has put out warrants for their arrest. You've got that whole government infrastructure going down.
Those that don't know, but Obama and Bush, they both canceled like engagements they had in Switzerland out of fear of being arrested.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
But we're perfect. We're America. We can do no wrong.
Well, they're the corporate America. They're not us, as we, the people America.
That's the democracy, not the republic.
Right.
So we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah, let's get into that later. That's a whole show all by itself there that I'd love to share with people.
Yeah, I just can't help it. I can't help it. Yeah. So let's get into the fact seriously. We've got Obamacare. But states are standing up saying they disagree.
Absolutely. Well, here, from my aspect, from a naturopath, up until January, we could help people, and they could use their healthcare credit card. They used to have a savings account within their healthcare that they could use a credit card to get our services and products from the natural health world. After January now, we can't do that. Obamacare took that away. So there's no way that people could use their own money in their own, healthcare savings account to go to the natural side of things. They only can spend their own money in the pharmaceutical and medical world. That's wrong. So, I mean, there's nothing positive about Obamacare other than lining the industrialist pockets, period.
Exactly. And at least people are standing up. I mean, they're doing a lot of things to keep people. We've got S510 that passed, most people don't seem to realize, on an appropriations bill. There are, now, 7 states that prevent people from collecting rainwater, or it's a legal offense. And that itself is showing, oh my God, can you believe that? Being restricted in collecting rainwater?
Yeah, it's insane, isn't it?
And yet they are seriously on the books. And right now, they're trying to enforce it. They're trying to prevent people from being a part of their environment around them and actually gaining control over their own health. And if we have control over our health, well, then, we have control over our lives. So, hey, we don't want that by the governments that empowers it be, the international bakers, the Red Shield, Rothschild. We'll keep going. I mean, come on. It's kind of insane. We are people. This earth is for us. We are definitely connected. Look at water alone. We are 70% water. So is the earth. That alone should say we are seriously connected.
Oh, don't be saying that stuff. That's woo-woo. That's that New Age stuff. You're one of those weirdos, Nickie. But I agree with you. I'm just kind of being funny. But
well, yeah. Except now we've got quantum mechanics and physics coming up, showing this is exactly the case.
Yeah.
So science is catching up, saying the same thing.
I know, and that's the struggle that you see now. Is the old industrial military medical complex is coming up with this new science, is faced with the new science and biology that's coming out, saying that exactly the opposite. So this is an interesting time in history where science is evolving into understanding that maybe the medicine men of old, the Aboriginal people, aren't really the indigenous people. I mean, are really not the crazy ones.
I love it, and the way I see it is like science has found spirituality, and it's kind of an amazing thing. It's the last thing most scientists expected, and it's kind of funny to hear them talk, because to me it's like hearing, and no offense to anybody listening, and you either, it's just you hear like major Christians talk, and then they get upset when you mention vibration or science or something like this, even though they will be a scientist, because it crosses those lines. But now it seems like sciences just crossed those lines again. And
well, they're bringing science and religion together, science and spirituality, together.
Yeah, and saying that maybe we don't need these rules, these dogmatic systems, which dogma alone corresponds almost perfectly with the control system of our government today. So, just a simple fact, it's another separate control system. It's just a different way to view it. And I know that probably upsets some people, but hey, I'm not saying religion is bad, just the whole idea that it always comes from a person. It's this dogma. It's these rules written on a piece of paper. like what we're adhering to with this government now. I wish they would adhere to those same rules. But we need to realize that this earth is important and we are seriously connected. And just alone, the 70% water is a big deal. And the quantum science has shown now that the water, like pH balance, can change just by people focusing on that water with positive energy. And cancer can't exist in an alkaline body?
Right. Yeah, you alter the pH and cancer can't exist anymore.
So if we can seriously, with positive energy, with prayer, or, okay, if that's what you want to see it, focus towards water, and just our thoughts and our energies and our positivity, like love, is focused towards the water, it can alter the pH balance and make it go up. And in correspondence as well, if you have bad energy and bad thoughts, it can make the pH go down. So therefore, just our simple thought can change the pH balance of water. And if we are 70% water like the earth, then imagine what we can do.
Well, that's true, but that we're supposed to be mineral water, and that the sustainability in that in your theory lies in the mineral aspect of that. And we're water, but it's not a natural water anymore.
Hey, it's not a bad thought.
I mean, no, it's not a bad thought at all. I'm just saying I come from just take your thought and just go a little bit further to purity and what's really natural and balanced. And like I say, it goes back to the minerals in the water helps with the electrolysis, the electrolytes and all that. So that makes us even more... yeah, right. The crystalline and the frequencies, the sustainability of the frequencies, and our biology at the same time.
See, that's beautiful. I mean, that in and of itself, because I love it. They've shown that, like with the radiance of the sun, taking water that was frozen, right, and flash frozen after being exposed to the radiation of the sun, and it forming like those perfect crystals. And they've had exposed it to quite a few other things as well, and then flash froze just to see the effects on the crystalline structure of the water element. And it was quite beautiful. And that's been done also with people focusing on water and changing its crystalline structure as well. And different energies, different emotions create different crystalline structures. And you could get into, I guess, the Vedas, the beautiful symbols that represent certain sounds, which seem to correspond a lot with some of the images that are seen, at least in my opinion. But hey.
Well, if you take that theory, and there's all this fear and fear-mongering and anxiety and stress, that same thing happened to the water. It affected it, and it caused it to be cloudy and dirty and unorganized, and there was really no nice, clear crystal organization. It was all a chaotic, everything was all cloudy and whatever. And that's really what's happening is people, they're full of fear, they're full of anxiety and worry, and their adrenaline and all the stress hormones are in their body. So how can you be clear and happy and focused and balanced and everything just on all the fear that's and worry that's being pushed on us from the establishment, from TV, through radio, through newspaper, through the lack of money, the lack of job, all this. So, and if we're 70% water, that's affecting us just on that level. And so I believe that we alter our belief, or we alter the way we look at things, and just ignore all these fearmongers. I mean, it's all an illusion anyhow. We can alter our crystalline structure, our crystalline matrix configuration, if you will, just by changing our belief about what we're being told. And we can do a lot of this all by ourselves by just altering our belief. We can turn our cloudy, crystalline, unorganized structure into a nice crystal clear and raise our own vibrations just by altering our belief in the way we perceive our world.
It's very beautiful, I have to say. That's an awesome thought and a perfect way to end the a half hour because I got to take a quick break. And, man, I love where this is going. See, that's beautiful. I really do. You going to hang in there, of course? We got a ways to go, I guess.
I'll be here.
Perfect. Well, hey, you want to give people your website one quick time before I hit a commercial?
Yeah, our virtual clinic is www.bodyelectrician.com. And it's being updated, but there's a lot of information on there, and there's a lot more to come.
Perfect. Well, hey, Freedomizers, we'll be right back with you with Will Spencer and, of course, Nickie Nix as we rise above dehumanization. Hang in there, Freedomizers.
Hi, folks, CT here. I want to talk to you about a great preparedness resource, tomorrowsharvest.com. Whether it's an economic collapse or nature's fury, there's no feeling more secure than knowing that your loved ones will be well fed. If it's time to bug out or just camping with the family, Tomorrow's Harvest offers high-quality, cost-effective, and long-term smart food storage. Get your free sample. The choices are great. From blueberry pancakes to the cowboy chili, no one else has the meal variety of Tomorrow's Harvest. They also provide other survival necessities. Check out the various packages and customize your meal supply. Remember, there's no reason for fear today when you're prepared with Tomorrow's Harvest. Go to www.tomorrowsharvest.com and tell them you're Freedomizer.
Charlie Leach on Freedomizer Radio.
And it's good to make the connection with you, Travis, at Freedomizer. And I hear big station. You're one of the biggest alternative resistance radio shows. So it's an honor to be on. You don't have to thank me. I enjoy spouting my extreme propaganda over the airwaves to all these innocent, malleable minds out there.
Well, Jeff, I'm glad to see you survived the fall civilization. You look a little hungry. Did you put any food in that bug out bag? No. No? Well, you know, there's gophers in that field over there. You like gopher?
I like gopher.
You know there's 25 ways to cook a gopher.
Is there?
In fact, there is, but there's no way to cook a gopher that's better than a little Travenile 1 gopher dipping barbecue sauce. Solves a real man's appetite. Got barbecue sauce in that bag of yours?
Nope.
That's alright, I do. That's right, just go on over there, get us a gopher, and we'll have some of that fantastic, yummy, tasty Travenile 1 gopher dipping barbecue sauce.
This completely fictional commercial in no way indicates that Travenile 1 does actually make a gopher dipping barbecue sauce. If Travenile 1 does ever decide to make a gopher dipping barbecue sauce, False Flag Radio fully expects the royalties from the brochure that you tune into the Commune and the Conspiracy Theorist exclusively on False Flag Radio.
Federal Reserve, you've been living hell to me. You've been robbing me since 1913. You'll run the presses till the ink is dry. Long ago, I stopped asking why. Federal Reserve, I hate every inch of you. You robbed me and you cheated me through and through. Now I'm a poorer and more destitute man. Mr. Congressman, why can't you understand? Federal Reserve, what good do you think you do? Do you think we'll all be richer when you're through? Your dollars are no longer backed by gold, and your stone walls turn my blood a little cold. Federal Reserve, may you rot and burn in hell. May your walls fall and may I live to tell. May all the world reject your fake cash. You stole our wealth, but we we can take it back. You stole our wealth, but we can take it back. You stole our wealth, but we can take it back.
Johnny Cash, I just love that song. I really can't get enough of it. I really can't. But hey, Miss Spencer, you're back with us. Don't you love that song? You know it's great. Hello, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Sometimes there must be a lot of modulation or something. I can't quite hear everything. You're all jumbled together, so I didn't quite hear everything there. So sorry about that.
No, it's all good. It's Johnny Cash. I can't get enough of him. He's a very good song. We see the fall of the dollar everywhere. We see food prices especially. We couldn't even find tomatoes. I had to, go pretty far to find tomatoes these last couple of days because I love my hot sauce stuff. Fresh hot sauce today, of course. But it was really hard to find. And we get through, I'm talking probably about 3 to 5 pounds of vegetables, you know?
I think there's an engineered food crisis happening personally. Might as well get right back into that because I don't know, I watch a lot of, I don't watch any main media, television media, but news, pretty much everything alternate, and it sure appears that way because even up here where some of the prices have taken a little bit of a hike on certain things up here in the Northeast.
Yeah, and even here, like in Texas, because gas prices are over $3 right now, which is a really big deal in general. I know garlic, and garlic, people think it's really not a big deal, okay? But garlic alone, when you cook, is a pretty big deal. I use it in, everything. The beneficial elements of garlic is a very big deal. Will, you can attest to that, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Good for the immune system, good for, some of your sinuses. There's a lot of stuff that garlic can be good for. The blood, fresh foods in general, just really good ideas. You want to touch some on that? For real, and what's the big deal with all this, why we can't get fresh foods all of a sudden? And we always have to choose from Walmart's choices because, we don't know our local farmers anymore.
Well, I help educate people to know their farmers. I don't buy food at Walmart unless I absolutely can't find anything else, but I believe that that's part of the plan of the corporate, industrial, medical, military complex is to have every aspect of people's lives controlled, and they don't want us to have good food. I talked to another researcher. I just met the fellow, and we had this awesome conversation yesterday about, he was saying we have 12 strands of DNA, only 2 active, and the medical world calls the other 10 junk. And
80% junk DNA.
Yeah, God made us for junk DNA, right. Anyhow, he was saying that his hypothesis, or his theory is they want to keep our mineral in our food down. They want to keep our awareness down by thumping the atmosphere with low frequencies and putting the chemicals in the air so they can keep us down, keep us toxic, and so the other 10 strands of DNA don't become active, because his theory is we're at the end of a 25,000-year cycle. At the end of the cycle, all the strains of our DNA start vibrating as the universal vibrations increase. It basically turns on all of our DNA, and we become enlightened. And the industrial, military, medical complex doesn't want that to happen because they're going to lose a lot of workers, and they're going to realize that we don't need that system anymore. That's his theory, which I happen to agree with almost everything of that. And I hope the other people would be able to hear that and agree with that also, because it sure is being apparent that seems to be the plan.
Well, I'm definitely with you, but then again, I go through things that I just trust lately. And, wow, I have to say, it's kind of, I guess, a little unfair for me in general. But, yeah, that was pretty energetic, I have to say. I don't know, I just, had goosebumps everywhere, and that's, one of those rare experiences. But, I don't know. There's a lot of things going on, and this is what I keep preaching to. And right now I'm, probably full of, I don't know, it really doesn't matter anyway, so I can't really get into it. Hopefully, Will, I think you might understand what I'm trying to say, but there's a lot of changes happening right now, and I wish people would pay a little bit more attention, especially when you have these certain, knowledge, I guess, realizations, or even energy spikes, or just pure emotion that can come over you. It seriously gives you not only a path or a connection with past, present, and future, but with yourself and life around you. And, yeah, we either need to take a break or you need to say something, seriously, because I'm going to have to do something at the moment. Sorry.
Okay. I didn't mean to...
Yeah.
Didn't mean to get you sidetracked there. I'm sorry. I went off on a tangent.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's just the fact that, I just need you to talk for a few minutes while I try to center myself on things. Sorry.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to be here. I've been asked to talk quite a bit lately on different platforms about some of my research and thinking, because a lot of the way I think has been... a lot of people have been thinking the same thing, and I guess they're wanting to hear that they're not alone. Don't know how long I have to talk here, Nickie, but...
No, I'm doing better, seriously. No, it's okay. It's just, for people that don't understand sometimes, for me personally, I don't know how much this is true for a lot of others, but when there are key moments, I guess, that these little energy spikes or something kind of happen, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of really hard to explain, but that's what happened, and it's just when information flows as well, so it's just one of those kind of times that you're processing a lot of info. So I apologize to people, and I know that probably doesn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people. I apologize, but that's the best I can do for now, because I really don't know how to explain that without sounding completely crazy. So let's get on with food. So, Will.
Well, I could explain some of that if you want, because
if you want to, I'm good. Go for it.
Well, this has to do with the universal energy and about evolution. And actually, there was a lecture that we watched not too long ago. I mean, in the last week, one evening, and they were saying the amount of information that we're processing today. In every 20 days, the amount of information and that we're processing today used to take 100 years. And this all ties into the universal energy increase and the vibrations shifting and everything all around us. And so every 20 days, we're processing the same amount of information that used to take hundreds of years. And so if you're a little unbalanced or if you're not used to it and the energy spikes, it gets a little uncomfortable and unbearable sometimes. I go through that myself because there's just so many things that are happening all at one time, and it's being condensed. And
yeah, the processing.
You're not alone, believe me. There's people that I run. It's just nobody wants to talk about it, and if more people start talking about their issues or their problems or their questions, then the group consciousness can help share with the solutions.
Yeah, I just realized that it really does happen to a lot more people these days. I've run into several myself. It's just never happened to me really on air before, so that was just one of those things I couldn't help. Sorry.
Right on.
Yeah. No, synchronicity's been beautiful. I keep telling people I love these vibrations, and it's so odd. And I don't know if I've talked to you about this lately, but ever since the very first of this year. And I don't know, because I don't think our time is quite, this Gregorian calendar is quite accurate with what was first around, And yes, for Bush, I just got to say that. Anyways, sorry. the vibrations, like, since the first, has been majorly different. And I honestly don't think it was supposed to correspond with the New Year. It's just kind of one of those coincidence kind of things. And I love that word coincidence now, because look at it closely. It coincides. It's not even, like, it's just something, you know, we always think by chance. It's just, yeah. We're so confused with words. But ever since the first, there's been a major positive change. And, I mean, look what happened with Egypt. I'm still so excited about the vibration and everything from there. There is a possibility that we can do so much more than what is happening now. And I see a major change because people have lost jobs and nobody has money anymore. And there's a major move from people moving from major cities out back to the country, back to family and members that are being successful out on the search of what we consider modern-day civilization and going back to the old ways. But people think that we're automatically going to be missing technology. That's going to disappear. And I don't think we understand what technology truly is. We only assume synthetic and not natural technology, which seems to have a lot more energy and power than we can perceive now.
I think we can go through this shift that we're having in, you know, all the different levels. The technology in itself isn't bad for the most part. It's just how it's used, and if we can use it to better of humankind, then, you know, so be it.
We think that okay, if we move away from the cities and everything falls away, you know, our government ceases to be, and oh no, here comes chaos. Yeah, right. I'm sorry, chaos won't happen. We are still all people, and we will definitely act like people. We tend to want to take care of each other. That's just natural for us. So don't expect us to act in a way that isn't natural. I'm just saying, we fear our neighbor. Why? Because they're so different from us, huh? Yeah, they're not people. That's not possible. Come on, you know? We're so much more alike, and that's what's important right now.
Right.
I mean, just the vibration, the energy necessary. You want to talk about, like, food in general? What's up with the GMOs?
The GMOs. Another corporate scam, if you will. There's just another way of controlling food, as well as you know, controlling the food, controlling the people. I mean, I don't agree with it. It's not healthy. But the cool thing about this is, even though that the GMOs are in the food chain now, with some research that I've done over the years and have acquired, that there is a solution to if you do have any genetic damage or biological damage within you, to restore that. And the answer is still in nature. There is an answer. There is help. And if you want to get into that, I'll talk about that. It's kind of up to you. But there has been some research done on that. The information was not allowed to be peer-reviewed or published, and actually a lot of the information disappeared out of the scientific world. I just happen to know the researcher, microbiologist that did the researching. But there is natural things you can do to reverse that damage in the human body and in the plant kingdom.
We've got about 5 minutes till top of the hour. Why don't we save that for that time, so that we don't have to take a break between it? What do you say?
You're the maestro. Go ahead.
Awesome. Well, then, hey, what do you think about, like, this major weather change? Have you noticed, like, because I'm sure we'll end up, like, talking about the Gulf Stream at one point, but
the major
change in the Gulf Stream. Now, people say it just has disappeared, but it seems to have moved off of, say, the Florida coastline. And so nothing was coming into the Gulf anymore, which has definitely changed, because this year should have been this last year should have been like a height of hurricane season. And me being in Texas, that was a big deal. We didn't see anything, you know?
Right. Well, I think that's all part of the weather modification programs that they got there. They're manipulating the weather, the industrial people. it's all manipulated along with geo-engineering. I mean, there's a lot of different things that go into play into that, but I believe it's being messed with and engineered and altered, and yeah, that's my belief.
Yeah, which we can talk. I mean, in that point, there's what HARP. We got the high oral activation. Man, yeah. Wow.
Right, I don't remember the name of that either.
Yeah, that was really, really bad on my part, man. Seriously, I know that, but then again, well, for those in the chat room, they all know me, so, hey, that's my bad there. So, moving on, higher auroral, radiation. Yeah. All right, I'm surprised somebody hasn't typed that in. Oh, hey, that's a good time to mention this. All the guests in the chat room, if you ever want to like join us in our conversation or say put something in the chat room, if you it takes less than a minute, head up to Blog Talk Radio. You can enter in a quick ID. All it takes is your email address. That's it. And at that point, you can come back down and actually communicate with us. That's always welcome as well. You can also call in and join us at 347-324-3704. And you can always check out, Will Spencer here, Dr. Will, at www.bodyelectrician.com, right?
Correct. Yep, that's the clinic site. I have a couple of others, but that's one of them. That's where a lot of information is.
And you can even find a good bio on Will and everything else there, which, man, he does so much, and it's just so amazing. I mean, seriously, I'm still in awe. I like being able to talk to you.
So I'm kind of question-driven. I mean, I get lost so easy wandering around. So.
Right now, I'm all about, like, the food right now is really freaking me out. The S510 that okay, at least the numbers got pushed up, and you have to be a little bit of a larger farm to fall within its jurisdiction. But they are seriously on a move to prevent people from being able to, say, even have potluck.
To have what?
To have potluck dinners, where you share food. Because that was the whole idea of S510, You can't share, you can't sell, you can't even give food away.
Wow. I guess we're going to all be criminals, huh?
Hey, I think if that ever comes to be where it's all with small farmers, we all need to put out our crops in the front yard with the big old middle finger foam, one of those big foam footballs, but with the big middle finger in the middle of the crop as the scarecrow. Seriously, I'm just saying. That's me. If they tell me you can't grow your own food, then that's exactly what you should do. Give them a big middle finger, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. That whole thing has just gone nuts. And to be honest with you, if we would all just take our focus off of all that crap, because that's all an illusion anyhow, and just focus it somewhere else. Their only power is coming from everybody's fear. If you stop being afraid of them, then they lose their power.
Just like with that Simpsons episode, right, where they have that ionic storm, which I still love, that Treehouse of Horror episode, the Halloween episode, and all their billboards come to life, right? And how did it work? How did they get rid of all this corporatization? They ignored it. They turned their back. Because if you don't focus your energy on it, then it ceases to have any power.
Right, and quantum physics is saying just that. If they did some tests, the molecules didn't have any organization unless you focused on them, even good or bad. As soon as you take your, what?
Our attention is the key.
Yeah, our attention is the key.
It's beautiful, but doesn't that in itself show spirituality? Oh my God, that means this whole existence was made for us to view, for us to experience, for us to see. If not, it would not be here. That is so beautiful. That is spiritual. That is amazing.
I'll agree with that.
It's just, that's my opinion. But hey, we're at the top of the... Okay, see, I was drinking a beer. See, that's my line. Little wave out. So that was me. Good way to end it. I have to say, sorry about that, people. That was beautiful, I have to say. Okay. So, moving on.
I'll tell you.
Freedomizers, we'll be right back here with you. You got Nickie next.
Hi folks, CT here. I want to talk to you about a great preparedness resource, tomorrowsharvest.com. Whether it's an economic collapse or nature's fury, there's no feeling more secure than knowing that your loved ones will be well fed. If it's time to bug out or just camping with the family, Tomorrow's Harvest offers high quality, cost effective, and long-term smart food storage. Get your free sample. The choices are great. From blueberry pancakes to the cowboy chili, no one else has the meal variety of Tomorrow's Harvest. They also provide other survival necessities. Check out the various packages and customize your...
Hey, Freedomizers, have you started your food storage yet? Are you dehydrating your own organic fruits and vegetables? Proof Negative here is going to tell you to check out dehydrate2store.com, where Tammy is going to show you how to dehydrate your own fruits and vegetables so that you can have the best food storage possible. Why waste money on inferior products when you could do it yourself? Easy. Check out dehydrate2store.com.
Listen to The Rude Awakening with Knucklebones on Freedomizer Radio, Tuesday and Thursday nights, 10 to 12 p.m. Pacific. New World Order and related topics, callers and chatters are always stars of the show. Come participate on the air. When all else fails, it's a variety show. Check out The Rude Awakening.
They are going to release a bioweapon that is going to kill almost everybody. Now I want to explain something to you. It's guaranteed. Yeah, have a hex. And you'll take the curse. Yeah. Throw it in reverse. All right. Damn, that was fresh. We don't tolerate no pretenders. All the money.
I think your mentality has done a 180-degree flip. I think you like to get tied up and lashed with a whip. Swung upside down, a jack for your shit, covered in feces with thumbtacks in your lip. That's what you get when you fuck with the king. Making a wrong move and get you stuck in the bing. God bless America's the song you should sing. You're dealing with child molesters in the pedophile ring. Everything's under heavy control, from your puppet president to your petty patrol. When they protect the infrastructure, they'll be ready to roll. Fuck a mortgage foreclosure, they will levy your soul. Communication giants are spying on you from Venus, and you think it's coincidental they own all the arenas. To know the outcome, it doesn't require genius. Verizon wireless services are interlinked with demons.
Yeah, have a hex. And you'll take the curse. Yeah, throw it in reverse. All right. Damn, that was fresh. We don't tolerate no pretenders.
This is bubblegum truth high. I got Veritas on my side in the end, my friend. What do you got? Probably mercury-free flu shots. You ain't touching this without oven mitts. It is too hot. You have blown up in the patriot community, and it seems you've shown up with immunity. At the gun rally in Austin, what you said the blacks wasn't nice, and the lion suits Austin. If I see you in New York, I hope you say something. I'm not Mike from ProTink, I will spray something. You're a fraud and you can no longer mask that. You can get your bullhorn and your ass cracked. You're the chosen, shepherd and deceiver, $1 million patriot to make them all believers. The New World Order star wide receiver, or just the ultimate fall like no Caesar.
I'm telling you right now, most people listening to my voice right now are going to be killed by the eugenicists within the next decade. We are all dead.
You are not permitted to say the J word. Unless you want to die today, you could fly away like a jaybird. Your movement's been infiltrated on every level. Alex Jones has signed a contract with the devil. I have talked to several people who worked with them. They walked away in disgust, letting the dirt hit them. The legitimate truth seeker has been marginalized by self-censoring buffoons with stars in their eyes. It should not be that large a surprise when he tries to make Arabs a formidable villain. That is when I rip off the skies. That is what you can get with 2.3 trillion. The Church of Jonestein does attract believers. Them chasing their tails is like happy retrievers. Alex Jones is a pussy, no doubt. I never heard the words of Hakeem come out his mouth.
Yeah, have a hack. I will take the curse, yeah, and throw it in reverse. We don't tolerate no pretenders.
They are going to kill most of the world's population. The helicopters will fly over, the jets will fly over at 2,000 feet. They'll hit us, and within days, we're all going to be dead. Just destroying the republic.
All right, Freedomizers, Nickie Nick's back here with you. And Will Spencer's here too. Hey, Will.
Hey, Nickie. I like that song.
Right? What did you think? So seriously, it's got some good lyrics. That's Payday Monsanto.
I'm having the hardest time hearing you. I'm telling you, it sounds like you're in the bathtub. I'm sorry.
My phone was dead, so I'm doing Skype.
So you're going to have to repeat that so I can hear you. I'm sorry, Nickie.
No, my phone is dead, so I'm having to deal with Skype.
Oh, I can hear you just great now. So whatever you did, I'm on that.
Wow, that's so weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I love technology, don't you?
Yeah, right? Yeah, no, that's Payday Monsanto. That's the name of the band. Great
that's
name,
the name
right?
of the band?
Yeah, Payday Monsanto.
Oh, wow. I'll have
right?
to look those up.
Speaking
I've never heard of them.
Yeah, speaking of Monsanto. So, like GMO foods, Monsanto.
Right.
Well, we want to get into this. Or we were going to get into the top of this hour?
Is that what we're going to talk about now? Is this the time?
Why not? We got a good half hour before the next commercial, so...
Well, I'll share some information that I'd love to.
Go for it. We're here.
Back in the 90s, there was a fellow by the name of Dr. Karl Oppenheimer. I don't know. He's not really that popular in the mainstream, but he did a lot of things in the bio-remediation world using microorganisms and for cleaning up the environment, especially oil. And he's from down in your neck of the woods, down around Austin, Corpus Christi is where I think he did a lot of his research at the university there. And he was using microorganisms to clean up the environment. And one day he had an idea that, say, if our digestive tract is so similar to the soil, then he started researching in the digestive tract and actually using microorganisms inside of us, which now we know that that's 80% of our immunity and our chelating ability. But he was taking cancer out of the body, rebuilding digestive tracts, AIDS, reversing AIDS and HIV, all with using microorganisms. And he was attempting to publish some of his documents, his research, and not one was able to be published or go for peer review or anything, and then shortly thereafter he mysteriously died. But I got to have quite a few personal calls with him, and information he shared was, to me, invaluable because his theories, there's a few of us naturopaths around the country and the world now that have applied his theories and his research, and amazing things happen when you just put nature back in balance into us, and the body then just heals. And that is just one little tidbit of information that I've acquired over the years.
So you want to explain, like, the whole idea with the... Well, let's get into the whole idea with what's happening in the Gulf. So we had this whole issue that we had that big break, which was a BS description for what happened in the first place. Because most likely that break was pretty close to happening in the first place. But no, let's throw Corexit in the mix. Let's throw a synthetic organism that was created in the laboratory.
Right.
So they throw this in, and then what? It hides the oil underneath? What do you think, like, hurricanes and everything else were very good for? Maybe get rid of naturally the oil? But no, we can't wait for nature. Let's hide it, out of sight, out of mind, right?
Well, I think there's a bigger game at play here, because they also, it was just kind of coincidental, I guess you'd say, that right around the time the oil spill happened, the BP had, just prior to that, BP has started another company, and a lot of the investments that this country has in the oil industry, this country's shifted their investments at the same time as BP into this algae and making biofuel, or making green fuel out of algae. And this synthetic algae that they're making or breeding now uses heavy metals, low oxygenate environment, some petrochemicals, and crude oil as its food source. And they I guess the way I see it now is they're seeding this algae into the Gulf, because the Gulf environment now is low oxygen, high chemical, high heavy metals, and petroleum. And so they're going to basically turn the Gulf of Mexico into an algae farm, so they can then make diesel fuel out of processing the algae. Which, I mean, if you look at it on an industrial scale, it's cheaper than drilling. You can just combine the algae off the top of the water and make oil out of it instead of having to drill for it. I mean, kind of crazy, but
yeah, or create something else we haven't seen before. I mean, come on.
Right.
This is the thing. This Corexit had never been used or seen outside of the laboratory to begin with, and now it's being used in an environmental standpoint. And come on.
Right. There's a lot of countries around the planet that outlaw that, and it's
that's what they were just talking about in the chat room. They're like, man, it's banned all over the UK and Europe. They say absolutely not. Like GMOs. Most of Europe bans genetically modified organisms, GMO foods. Seriously.
Right. Yep. It's all about money. They want to patent the thing so they can control it. And just like the genetically modified hemp, they haven't quite got it perfect yet, so so they're still outlawed. You can't raise hemp. So whenever you'll notice the patterns, whenever they get it genetically modified and get a patent on it, then it becomes legal to raise certain things, and then it becomes illegal for anybody else to raise it unless they pay the price in buying the seed, buying the chemical, buying the license, or buying whatever, and pay the tax to have to raise the crop.
Now there's all this big controversy, especially with Monsanto, that if you sign with them, no matter what, the farmers bear all responsibility. So say if there's cross-pollination and some of your genetically modified seed propagates in the field next to you that it's not genetically modified, then the grower, not Monsanto, claims full legal responsibility.
Right, but there was a case that was just won not too long ago by Percy Schmeischer up in, I forget which provinces, in Canada, at any rate, Saskatchewan, I think. He won a case. So there are farmers that are setting precedent against the big agri-giants. It's a little slow process, but it is happening, and I still got faith in we the people. Eventually, the corporations are going to lose because they have no love and they have no heart. So therefore, they're eventually not going to win. It's just in this transition time, it's going to be a little crazy.
Yeah, so ignore them. Grow your own food anyways. And like I said, give them the big middle finger. I still like the foam idea. football foam hand with a big middle finger in the middle of your garden. I love it.
You crack me up, Nickie.
I can't help it. That's just what I see. If they're going to tell me I can't grow, I'm going to give them the big middle finger. I'm just saying. There's actually quite a lot of people now doing like vertical growing on roofs, growing in just their side yard, whatever area they have now. It seems to be happening because, wow, food prices, everything else is going outrageous. But then again, back in the past, most, at least 20 to 30% of people's income was spent on food. We don't do that anymore.
Well, there's more people getting to be coming back to that, though, because the consciousness is happening, either being awakened up and
we're wanting better foods. We're not willing to just buy whatever's cheapest.
Right, because people are starting to take responsibility for themselves because they're becoming awake and they're not living in their little clouded world anymore.
It's a good thing to see. People actually becoming neighbors, becoming people, stepping out, saying hello, shaking a person's hand, actual physical human contact. What an interesting concept. Although technically nothing ever actually touches, but your energy levels and your energy source around you definitely interact. It's very important and necessary for not only our health, but our growth.
Well, we're all connected, and people just don't realize it, that's all.
Yeah, that's all. People just don't understand. It's all good.
Yeah, they just don't get the concept. Today we went to the store, there was an old man. I mean, he was just Mr. Grumpy, and I just kind of got this little kid habit of mine, I just said, "Hi, how you doing?" and patted him on the back, and he looked at me like I was from Mars, but he smiled. And just that little bit, I believe if we keep our vibrations up, it's like you turn the light switch on and the darkness just goes away, or, it's kind of what they taught me in, Bible thing in school is, take the basket off of your head and let your candle shine, The darkness will have to leave as long, you just keep your light and keep your energy high, and the darkness will eventually go away.
Exactly. And you can't take darkness into light and expect it to have any effect.
Right. The light will always win. The dark may struggle, but the light will always win.
Exactly. And it's just about energy and light. So, seriously, what have you found that, works with helping with things that have happened, especially if you've had the effect of genetically modified foods?
Oh, yeah, I can continue on with that about the microorganisms from the earth. The microorganisms from the earth, the way I had it explained to me, and it makes so much sense, is they're like if we have them in us, they hold almost like the connection between us and the information, because information is really in our auric field. According to science now, they're saying that the information is held in our auric field or out in the universal mind, however you want to talk about it. I mean, David Wilcock talks about the information field. There's several other well-known people now that are talking about the auric field. Anyhow, our ability to acquire certain biological information for health and homeostasis is held in our auric field. And the only way we can access that information is by having these microorganisms in us, because each microorganism strain has a certain frequency, and that frequency then connects to that particular information out in our auric field. If we don't have the microorganisms, we lose the ability to contact that bit of information out in our auric field for our own health. So by putting the microorganism back into us, in our internal environment, then accesses us to that specific bit of information through that frequency that the microorganism holds, and that leads to our health. And that information then will resequence our own cells and DNA and our own blueprint if we've been damaged by chemicals or genetically modified organisms or whatever, or ill health at all, and just by putting the microorganisms back into us. And that's how simple it is. And it works. I've got files of case studies. I've got other associates of mine that are having case studies to prove this. It may be unpublished in the medical world, this information, they wouldn't allow it. But there's getting to be enough of us crazies out here that have been applying this natural theory that it works. And that's how much of nature, we depend on nature. And that's why the industrialists, I believe, do not want things natural anymore. Because then we're not able to take care of ourselves.
Not that we can do that now. You know, we don't have that ability, so.
Right, well, you didn't ask them for permission.
Yeah.
You didn't pay your tax, so therefore you're not going to be able to be healthy.
Exactly.
But anyhow, that's the importance of the microorganisms and reversing genetic modification and DNA damage, and so it really lies in that connection with nature. And I mean, there's some more science if you want to hear it that's really pertinent to that.
Yeah, please do.
If you want to hear that.
Break, so go for it.
Okay. Well, there's another new science emerging, and that's talking about the I forget the name. Dylan, what's the name of that science about the microorganisms?
German medicine?
Yeah. No, they had a fancy name. Anyhow, Google. No, metagenetics is not it. I can't think of it. But at any rate, just Google German new medicine. This is the new science coming out of Germany, and what there's some of it they're saying. There's another section I can't even think right now. I'm sorry, but let's say we have like I'm an adult male, 6'2", 185. Roughly, I have around 7 trillion cells that make up my organism, and in that science, they're saying that 70% of my cells are really not my cells. They are microorganism cells. So that means 70% of me is part of nature. I'm only 30% human. You know what I mean. 30% of me are only my own cells, the bone, the muscle, and the rest of me, the majority of me, are nature, cells from nature and microorganisms.
You mean like the whole 70% water? You mean the 70% that we seriously are related to things around us?
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So that's how much of nature we are, and that's really why, just in my opinion, and simply put, is industrialization is not working, because we are more nature than we are industrial, and it's time consciously, universally, that we are almost unconsciously moving back to nature, because that's what works.
That's what it feels, right? We wonder why we get so sick being in the environments we're in, and whether we deal with it consciously, subconsciously, or not. If you don't process it correctly through the body, it's going to manifest itself in physical means.
Yeah, and I believe that's what all disease, any sickness you have, is really your unconscious part of you trying to wake you up, so then you can see that, hey, what I'm doing isn't working. Honestly, I mean, my tagline on my website and on my doc and all my brochures is "Vibrant health is the remedy for all disease," and that's it. And that's my path. My whole program is a path to vibrant health, because if you put the things back missing into your body will just do whatever it needs to do internally to fix whatever's wrong, and your diabetes will go away, your prostate will heal, your cysts on your ovaries will go away, your breast cancer just goes away, your gingivitis goes away, your asthma just goes away. So I'm helping people heal a potential of 2,500 symptoms with basically the same program, just modified a little bit. That's the new healthcare that's coming out. It's simple. We address emotions, we address belief, we help you to get the right biological elements into your body, and your body does the work. You heal, your body cures itself or heals itself.
Exactly. We all have this ability, yet we just don't want to acknowledge it. And not everybody's quite ready to do it all themselves. And luckily we have people like you that can help them along the way. So
right.
you want to give people another another mention of how to get in touch with you? Because I'm sure it's been a while since we did.
Oh yeah, you can you can go to my website www.bodyelectrician.com. You can call the office, talk to Delanne. She'd love to hear from you. It's 610-417-7248. You can Skype me, Will Spencer. You can go to some of my other websites. There's Environnotics.com.
And Will with one L, so you should mention that.
Well, say that again?
You should mention the fact it's Will with one L.
Oh, yeah, Will with one L. Yep. WILSPENCER. Will at bodyelectrician.com. Yeah, smoke signals work, whatever. Get a hold of us. I mean, we're here to help you. That's, without you, without a community, none of us have a business or health.
Yeah, and it's just to learn. He's there for you as well. There's ways to do this, And then we could get into, I guess, there's always ways to assist. There's the idea that the FDA wants to regulate or completely take out vitamins from the availability of people because they can't be regulated by the FDA. Oh no, let's take out our supplements too.
Well, they're doing that in Europe right now. The Codex is coming full swing over in Europe. I've got clients and customers over there. They're telling me that wow, it's happening in Canada. They're trying to get it to here. That's why insanity is perpetrated all over the planet right now from the industrial mindset. And
so what's the importance of vitamins? I mean, geez, don't we get enough nutrients from what we eat?
Personally, I don't recommend vitamins, as in vitamin C, vitamin D, because here's another important connection with the microorganisms that are supposed to be in us. The microorganisms that live in us, or they go through us, they synthesize the vitamins from the food we eat. So really benefiting from taking vitamins is really showing you how degenerated you are, that you're missing the microorganisms that should be in you.
You're talking probiotics, right?
Probiotics is a word. Probiotics is a general word. That's kind of the general overview, I guess you'd call it. That's the marketing word for microorganisms, and most of the vitamins that that are created in us are created from the soil-borne microorganisms, not the colonizing microorganisms like the acidophilus, the bifidus, the lactobacillus. Those are colonizing microorganisms. This whole big group, which is the majority of microorganisms that's really unrecognized in health, is the soil-borne microorganisms. The microorganisms that are from the earth. They do not multiply in us. They do their job within us as they pass through us in the food chain, and they die and they go out. They go through us. They do not colonize. They're designed to be in the food, in the environment, and then just passing through us.
Yeah. So you want to explain to people, what exactly, because see, biotics itself means life. So it's kind of, I guess, one of those good life, right? Pro-life.
For life, yeah, that's for life. Antibiotics, the stuff the doctors give you in the hospitals and whatnot, is against life.
Yes. Exactly. We don't even realize that. Why do you think we build up an immunity? Because it literally kills not only the bad cells, but a lot of things around it.
Right. I didn't get everything you just said. I'm sorry.
No, but when we get antibiotics, it not only kills the bad cells, but it's going to kill a lot of other life around it.
Well, yeah, antibiotic just kills. That's it. And but it doesn't kill everything. Most of the funguses that live in us, and other bacteria, some of the bacteria like E. coli, Salmonella, Staph, Strep, they don't die. Most of those don't die in the presence of antibiotics. They'll go dormant, or they'll mutate into go dormant, mutate into. Actually, some of the funguses can mutate between a virus, a bacteria, and a fungus in the presence of antibiotics or chemicals, and they they're the opportunistic ones. So if you're taking antibiotic, you're killing off the microorganisms that we need, or the the sensitive ones that die real easy, and then these opportunistic ones like staph and E. coli and the funguses like Candida, they multiply after you take an antibiotic. So now we're left with a depleted immunity because they just killed off a lot of the microorganisms that we need to keep everybody in balance. The opportunistic ones multiply. So now we're left with, then they wonder why we have MRSA and some of these crazy staph infections and this fungus that's crazy. I mean, the amount of people that I deal with that have a fungus or a candida overgrowth or whatever is insane following antibiotic treatments.
Yeah, and not only that, well, okay, you know what? It's the half hour, so we should take a quick break real quick. I'm actually going to go ahead and play another Payday Monsanto song.
Cool.
Yeah, I love his lyrics, and I don't think a lot of people pay attention to just what's said, so I'm glad you noticed. Yeah, so hang in there, Freedomizers. We'll be right back.
And we're going to have to come to the grips with the fact that they told us exactly what they were going to do. They wrote a document called the Project for a New American Century.
Don't ever say I didn't warn you. That's about all one can do. Anything these creatures take, the opposite is probably true. But every day their grip is getting stronger. We must not pull the tree of evil any longer. Every day the tyrant's getting closer. Will you sit back and watch or do what you're supposed to do?
What can I get with 2.3 trillion? When does a citizen become a civilian? When did the heroes morph into the villains? How can two planes powderize 3 buildings? These are questions that could get you murked, politically, socially, physically put into the dirt. Many swear that there's some kind of conflict of interest within. Conflict depends upon what you're interested in. You can chant 9/11 was an inside job all day until you say the facade and pay closer attention to Flight 175 and the odd cylindrical pod beneath the fuselage. Then it's 2 + 2 level addition after you factor in the flight termination system and flash back to the cash the good rabbi stole September 10th style right down the rabbit hole. Can I get with 2.3? You can get unlimited corporate news. What can I get with 2.3? You can have any mercenaries you choose. What can I get with 2.3 trillion? You can steal a couple million souls. Can I get with 2.3 trillion? You can get everything under control. The missile they hit the Pentagon with was not an act of randomness. It murdered accountants, bookkeepers, and budget analysts. That side of the building was retrofitted prior to this to withstand bomb blast, the nickname that catches me. If that don't give you some kind of clue why they glued them on, or maybe you should take some medication for your new disorder. If buildings are burning, don't ever trust a news reporter with 267 stories of gruesome slaughter. Don't ever mention Dubs, Akeem, and trillion stolen, much less missile equipped Boeings, even remote controlling. With System Planning Corporation International, the folks that see if you got some buildings you'd like to crash into. But that's impossible without the proper capital. That's why I'm asking you what you would do with unimaginable wealth. So much money you can't delve in it. Enough to buy 10 presidents and 12 senates. What can I get with 2.3? You can get unlimited corporate news. That's right. What can I get with 2.3? You can have any mercenaries you choose all night. What can I get with 2.3? You can steal a couple million souls. Indeed. What can I get with 2.3? You can get everything under control. Now that's greed. What can I get? Can I get with 2.3 trillion? Can I get what? Can I get with 2.3 trillion? Can I get with 2.3 trillion?
You know, it took me about a year to start hating the 9/11 victims' families. It took me about a year. And I had such compassion for them, and I really, I wanted to help them.
That's about 1 million 1/10 of what you can get with 2.3 trillion. Some clown named Glenn Beck fucking with a Pentagon talking point of how he hates the 9/11 victims' families. But that didn't roll over too well, did it, Glenn? They're well aware they can no longer create a consensus as effectively as they used to. So they parade some other clown on the other side of the spectrum named Geraldo to tacitly give 9/11 truth a 6-minute segment semblance of credence, as if we didn't have that 9 years ago, dummy. The system is designed to make you think anything is funny. Pretty soon you won't be able to buy anything with your monopoly money, dummy. What can I get with 2.3 trillion? 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 2.3 trillion.
All right, Freedomizers, we're back here with Will. So, hey, Will, we're back.
Hey.
Yeah, good old Payday Monsanto. I have to say, he was actually on here a few days ago, or like a couple weeks ago, with Proof Negative on Freedomizer Radio. And I actually got to talk to him. It was kind of cool. He actually says that he knows me, listens to my show, and all that kind of good stuff. So I have to give him props when I can.
He sounds like he'd be kind of a good guy to know.
Oh, very much so. Anybody that has that much talent and just writing alone. I'm saying because he says a lot. Most people don't pay attention, and his prose is intelligent. It actually has a good method. You could call it, I forget all the different ones. You got iambic, pentameter, all that other kind of stuff. But it's been a long time since I took English.
Yeah, right. As long as it sounds good, who cares what they call it, right?
Well, look what they found. They found Troy and everything else from Iliad, the Iliad. And the Iliad was written in complete prose. It was complete poem. So, right. And they found Troy and actually some other artifacts directly from that poem. So come on, it's a story. It's a way to tell a past. And how else do we remember if... unless we, recitation for, a test at the end of the week? That works well.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the way all the old cultures, used to have a spoken history, and it was to rhythms and to song and to words, and that's how history was passed down for thousands of years.
Yeah, and it worked. It really did work. You didn't even have to write to remember a story. A good story you remember.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a great way to tell a past. It really is, and I have great respect for it. May not agree with the spiritual connotations attached to it, but that's another story all to its own, and we're not going there anyways. So, right. Hey, there was a comment in the chat room about remediation regarding the heavy metals and from chemtrails and things of that nature.
Oh yeah, chemtrails. Yeah, that's well, as most of you, or not most of you, maybe you should all Google and watch what the heck are they spraying or
what
something like that.
What in the world are they spraying?
What in the world are they spraying? Correct.
By Edward Griffin.
Yeah, he's one of the. He's in there, and they talk in there. There's several interviews of people out in California, Oregon area, Mount Shasta, about how the heavy metals are accumulating in the soil, altering the pH balance, killing the microorganisms, locking the minerals into the soil, and then we have things don't grow right. I mean, trees are dying, plants are dying, you can't raise grass, and knowing some of that, I have gathered some of the microorganism, different combinations I have, and minerals, and put them together in a kit, and we're just getting ready to market that. That's been proven, by the way. I mean, this is to remediate the soil. At the same time, it not only decontaminates the soil, but it converts that heavy metal into actual nutrition for the plant, and increasing the nutrient value in your plant. And it's been used for years. I mean, this is what Carl, along with several other agriculturalists, scientists, microbiologists, I mean, this is a well-researched, well-known field. And if you take the microorganisms in a little heavier concentration in the soil, they actually eat heavy metals and carbon-based molecules and petrochemicals as their food, rendering them harmless and converting it actually to a fatty acid, which the plants can uptake to increase their nutrient value. And it's all, the secret is in these microorganisms. And that's one of the areas that I mean, it's all the same. It's all about microorganisms in the soil, in our bodies, in the atmosphere, in the environment. But that's just one way. It's called bio-remediation. Using biological organisms to fix a problem in the soil.
Yeah, that always works. Let's use synthetics. Let's not just let nature take care of itself. It doesn't have that ability, neither do we. Come on.
Well, it's the same thing that I'm doing with a lot of people around the Gulf of Mexico right now, because they have all these chemicals that are coming off the water. They're breathing the water. I mean, not breathing water, excuse me. Breathing the air that the chemicals have. They became airborne.
Yeah.
Huh?
I was joking. I said at least not everybody. Anyway.
I'm sorry, I get tongue-tied sometimes. But it's the same principles applied from nature into human beings, because we are part of nature. So you put these probiotics or these microorganisms into the body. The microorganisms then go throughout your body. They eat the heavy metals and the chemicals, and they get them out of you, and you become healthy again. It's that simple. And it works. And I've got a whole slew of testimonies that I'm getting ready to get onto the website just from the Gulf alone, and it's amazing.
It seriously is, and man, it doesn't take much to see it. But then again, people don't even want to gain control of their own life. Responsibility. What a word. Responsibility. Everybody keeps talking about Boyle. Well, I saw James today. You probably haven't caught him yet. He's been on quite a few times. I respect his opinion. Of course, he mentioned soil remediation, and then another person asked him, what about human remediation?
I don't know what that quite means. What they're getting at by saying that.
Yeah. I don't know if you would want to heal that, or if you really could, or I don't even know where to go with that one.
Yeah. Some things in the chat room might be worth looking over and passing by. I know I did a webinar once too, just recently in December, and some of the stuff going on in the chat room was amazing. Where I couldn't get. I'm in the middle of talking to people, and they're over there doing their chat, and I just could not get what they were talking about.
Well, okay, we could get in just to, cooking or growing your own food. Cooking your own food is a big deal in itself, and we get into the whole idea of raw foods over cooked foods, but personally I like a good steak now and then. But the thing is that we don't even know who prepares our food anymore. And I think that's a big deal.
Right.
We don't even know who grows our food, who raises our food. We don't even know our local farmers anymore.
For the most part, you're right.
So what would you suggest to people on that regards?
Meet a farmer. Once a week, we go about, I don't know, it takes a half an hour. We drive up to a farmer, and we get fresh raw milk and eggs and stuff off of his farm, and we bring it home once a week. By the way, we also get water. We get spring water. We get 30, 40 gallons of water. I've lived in Las Vegas and L.A. and all over the country, and I've always been able to, at least within a half an hour to 45 minutes, find fresh raw food everywhere. It's even in New York City. People bring it in.
Well, here in Dallas-Fort Worth, okay, we've got major farmers market downtown that is huge. It even has local farmers huts. So we have two separate tent kind of areas made just for local farmers, because there's like eight or nine different areas you can walk in. So it's big, but it's still, we have farmers market where you could go see local farmers and actually talk to them, ask them how they grow them, ask them if they had any chemical additives added while they were growing the plants themselves. Ask them about their meat that they are providing to you, that they have frozen available from cattle that they raise. You can ask them about the exact cow that it comes from. It's great.
Yep. So there's no reason to say that, oh, I can't find it. It's just you're not looking.
Yeah,
it's everywhere.
We're lazy.
Well, humans instinctively are lazy, I think.
But hey, if it's downtown for me, and seriously, Dallas, come on. If I can go downtown and find a farmer's market with local farmers that exist within 30 miles of downtown Dallas, then seriously, so can you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my issue, I just had this conversation an hour before we started here with a midwife. And we had lunch, and we're working I work with midwives, I work with chiropractors. She was talking about raw, and I said there is a problem with converting from the standard American diet to going to raw, because I see this a lot. People can't digest raw food. People don't have the ability, because if you're eating the standard grain-based diet, the grain, the anti-nutrients or natural pesticides in the grain shut off our enzyme production. So if you then switch to a raw diet, you don't have the enzymes, you're not able to produce the enzymes to even handle raw food. I'm working with a gal in Las Vegas right now. She's just a new client. She has to cook everything because she doesn't have enough enzyme production. Her gut just does not work to have just straight raw. She gets sick, and it goes right through her. So there are some issues with converting without any knowledge, and so that's important to know, and most people don't know that. They switch to raw, then they get sick. Oh, I can't do this. Well, there's a reason why. And you need to be educated a little bit when you're switching, and frankly, most people don't know. And that's what I'm about, is supporting and educating you and telling you why, and here's some help.
Exactly. There's always a way to look at something. So, hey.
But definitely raw and local, I'm all for that. That's natural. 10,000 years ago,
How
they
about
didn't
it yourself, even if it starts simple? Me, hot sauce, because I eat it constantly. So, tomatoes, cilantro, which grown inside can grow year-round. It's kind of nice. You can start growing it, and it never has to stop. It's something little and simple. Same with oregano. Spices like that can usually grow inside, so it's very nice to have.
Well, last year, I live in town. I live just almost downtown here in the Lehigh Valley, and we had 15 tomato plants outside last year. It doesn't take much space. Our little lot here, we're going to have a lot bigger one this year. You can do it if you want to. You can do it in your window, facing, it's just a matter of just doing it. You can raise some local food.
Hey, there's even some people that I've been talking to that are in Florida. Green Idea Inc. INC.com. They have all organic material, starting down to vertical growers. That he's working on a technique right now to where he can have vertical growers that exist on concrete patios, like for apartments and things, like where I live, which is a good thing because it can grow like 10 to 12 different plants. So in a vertical, like hydroponic system, so it's watered down, and it uses coconut shell planters. So it's completely organic down to even the soil. But because he manufactures and produces and has the production line of his own product, it's all comparable to even normal soil that you would get at Home Depot that isn't organic. So there are ways, you just have to look. Seriously. And it's not more expensive. It could even be less expensive. And you can do it even living in an apartment. You can grow your own food, including corn, which we all know, since the majority of corn is genetically modified. Do we really want to buy any more corn?
Right. Not me.
That's my problem, because I love hot sauce, so I have to have my corn chips,
Shame on you. That's not corn. But I wanted to touch on something about organics and on hydroponics, if I can, please. Mm-hmm. Because I've been aware of this food shortage thing, raising your own thing, hydroponics, and most of the hydroponics in the past has been all chemical fertilizer-based. And we just got our products done here and ready to market for hydroponics that puts the nutrition or the microorganisms and the minerals back into the hydroponic systems. That you can actually have an organic hydroponic system.
You talking about with the fish?
No, well, yes, but no, not this. But if you just have a little patio hydroponic thing, like you were talking about vertical.
Yeah.
Okay, a hydroponic system, you can make that system into raising your food to eat organically right there without chemicals. You don't have, There's alternatives now being developed.
Exactly, that's what this was all about. That's what makes it so great. I love it.
Absolutely.
So keep going. I'm all ears.
I was looking at the chat thing over there, and they were talking about vitamin C for heavy doses of vitamin C to chelate heavy metals. I don't know. I just glanced over there. Someone put it in big black letters.
No, go ahead.
And I wanted to say that is not accurate. Heavy doses of vitamin C does not chelate as good as you think it does. The new science, these are long-term studies that are just coming out in the last couple of years that hasn't been published at all, but it's current documentation saying high doses of vitamin C is actually causing your vascular system to be damaged, like leading to hardening of the arteries. So you have to be careful what you're being told.
Your body has to be able to process it. We're always confused about vitamin D and calcium.
I didn't quite get what you just said. I'm sorry.
I said we're always being confused about vitamin D and calcium.
Well, I just want to share some information here that'll shed some light on that, and I'll go back to that if you'd like. There's a book. There's a book that came out just not too long ago. It came out in the same year it got banned in this country, which brought a lot of this research to light. The title is ICD-999. The author is Patrick Jordan. You can get the book. I got the book. You have to get it out of the country. But in this book, he took painstakingly to make this very clear that the industrial pharmaceutical complex in the last 50 years discovered that they can use natural elements like high doses of vitamin C, like fish oil, like certain herbs, like all this taking vitamin D right now, that all those things will toxify you and harm you enough that you're going to have to go to the hospital to be treated. So we have a natural mentality, or a natural health has been compromised by the pharmaceutical industrial world. And they know If they push enough vitamin C to you, you're going to be damaged. You're going to have to go to the hospital to have some you're going to end up with problems. So you have to be careful, and it's every facet of our life has been compromised by the industrial complex. And they're trying to shut this information off. They outlawed this book in a matter of a year. It was published, and they outlawed it, and, so you have to be careful. And like vitamin D, studies are showing now you take too much vitamin D, you're going to harm yourself, because we don't naturally get vitamin D through a pill or a shot. Yeah. Vitamin D comes to us through animal products. We have proper enzyme production so it gets processed in the stomach correctly. We have a correct GI tract so it can handle the components of vitamin D precursors to get into our body. And we do not get vitamin D until the precursors react with the sun on our skin, and then we have vitamin D in our body available to us. Well, we don't eat animal products anymore. Or if we do, it's been pasteurized, X-rayed, irradiated, compromised somehow, so the vitamin D isn't available to us. Our guts don't work. We don't have enzyme production. We don't have microorganism production or a broad spectrum of them living in us. And we're compromised on all levels, so we have all these depletions going on. So it's really not about taking vitamin D to do this and vitamin C to do that and taking fish oil because, of this, and I need MSM so my joints don't hurt, and I need calcium because of this or that. That whole mentality is slowly becoming obsolete. It's going back to natural. It's going back to natural processes and putting things back into the body to make it work. I had a client come to me last week. He's like in his 60s, and the list of things he's taking natural, all natural stuff, 2 pages long. He's still getting sick and still going downhill. We're changing his diet. We're getting things straightened out, and he's like so amazed that he's spending $400 a month on all this natural stuff, and he's still not getting any better. And just a little bit of time with us, and things start to reverse just overnight, basically. So it's really about education and looking at things from a different perspective, because what we're being told from a natural aspect, if you go to your health food store and ask your person, what can I do for this, that stuff is not accurate. That's not how we work. So I'm sorry to go off on a tangent like that, but No, we never mind that. It's just people need to really get educated, and then we're in the process of updating our website with new information.
It's all good. It's all good. Let me see. Where was I? My system. I've got too many windows open. Oh, we got 3 more minutes before the top of the hour. Wow, look at that. We've already done 2 hours so far. How do you feel? You up for one more?
Oh, yeah. I'm just getting warmed up. Haven't even broke a sweat yet.
There you go. So
I'm more question driven. If anytime you want to.
So is it all good? Because okay, everybody listening should be well aware when it comes to me, there is no plan. So we don't have an outline here. We're just talking. I know. And I'm sure that catches a lot of people off guard, so they really have to deal with me on a different basis than I'm sure that they're used to. So I apologize for that, Will, but yeah. I love it. I love it. I just get bored talking. It's more fun to meet people where they're at. That's why when I give my seminars and lectures, I don't lecture much. I want to get everybody involved. Otherwise, I feel you're falling asleep, and I'm getting bored, and I don't really like hearing myself talk. Yeah, and hey, my son wants to say hi. Here's my 4-year-old son said, okay. Say hi.
Hi. I'm just going to be 5 to play football.
Yeah, he's about to be 5. He's been waiting to be 5 to play football, so that's his big deal. So he has to say hi. Oh, congratulations. He's going to be 5. Let's see, what is it? It's the end of February. In a month and a half, he'll be 5 on April 5th. His birthday being 456. I still love that. 456. My son has an April 6th birthday, and he'll be 9. Really? So does his cousin. Absolutely. His cousin, Madison, who's a year older than him, who will be 6, has the same birthday too.
Oh, wow.
My sister's daughter.
A bunch of little Aries running around.
Oh my God, exactly, little Aries.
Mommy, let me go.
All right, so say goodbye.
Bye. Mom.
See ya.
All right, well, everybody, there was my son. Yes. So, we're at the top of the hour. I've actually got a nice surprise for people because I've got a nice Payday Monsanto song that probably hasn't been played yet, ever. So I thought I might at least maybe play it. We'll see. I don't know. I'm in for some music, and I could use a bathroom break. So, and I made some fresh hot sauce today, so I got to go get some more. And I need at least the time necessary to accomplish that. So,
are we going to have questions and answers after this, or just kind of whatever happens?
No, if you need a break, dude, get up. It's 5.5 minutes. So you good?
No, I'm good. You just you lead, I'll follow.
Cool. Well, this one's actually called "Hiding Behind the Bar." Payday Monsanto, guys. Something nobody's probably heard before. So hang in there.
Human character. It has been with us since the beginning of time, on every continent, and in virtually every culture. From ancient Egypt to Babylon to Greece and Rome, Africa, Asia, Europe, and the United States. It's a disease of our human nature, yet people are under the impression that it no longer exists.
As long as you behave like a slave, you remain in the jacket to keep you straight and flip you up in court like a racket. Represent it, ain't it fantastic? Your attorney and your judge study the same magic. You are an infant, a person that comes down. They give you life back, take it off and you will drown. At least that's what they try to teach you. They give you A and B, I don't subscribe to either. You should see Stone Cold through their policy when they try to control the debate with a duality. Pick one and you think you got a choice. You've essentially squandered your motherfucking voice. I talk to the masses to see what I find, and eventually I gathered 500,000 like mine. Fuck 1 million men, there's 100 more times in which you thought that successes were created by crime. Your First Amendment is better than a doornail. Speaking your mind will get you fined or more jail. We're building bombs that you wouldn't believe. You want the right to bear arms, roll up your sleeves. Your First Amendment is better than a doornail. Speaking your mind will get you fined or more jail. We're building bombs that you wouldn't believe. You want the right to bear arms, roll up your sleeves. As long as you behave like a slave, you'll remain in the basement. Lost in a labyrinth of your enslavement. Wandering in a CIA-approved arrangement. Listening to a blabbermouth for entertainment. The true thing what it's cracked up to be. Patriots are manufactured in a factory. Most so-called hate groups they morph into ADL, Southern Poverty Law Center. You might hear my words of Dolly and Jeff, but you don't know about the wicked Dr. Jolly and West, who looked at the Tim McVeigh right up until his death. Sirhan, Jack Ruby, and probably the rest. Some say Oswald was just one little nut. Others will say the CIA like a JFK, so what? The human animal makes me want to channel Fort Milner and execute everybody who's off kilter. All that that's what they're saying. That's what I'm saying. All that that's what they're saying. That's what I'm saying. So what's in your town? I ain't playing.
I am what I am, and that's all that I am, and I am not capable of bowing to a man, and I am not capable of grand jurisdiction, especially considering the fact that you're a fiction, especially considering the fact you ain't real, and I'm flesh, and I'm blood, and I breathe, and I feel, and I'm here, and I'm now, I exist in the time, and the only place that you exist is the mind, and the only evidence of your existence is paper. I'm 80% water, you don't even need a paper, you're nothing but a figment of the imagination of men and women whose opinions held as legislation. But how does that opinion then create an obligation upon an autonomous sovereign without a nation? I'm saying, as a king I stand above your law, and it doesn't even matter whether or not I cross your bar.
The First Amendment is better than the doornail. Speaking your mind could get you fined, no more jail. We're building bombs that you wouldn't believe. You want the right to bear arms, roll up your sleeves. Your First Amendment is better than the doornail. Speaking your mind could get you fined, no more jail. We're building bombs that you wouldn't believe. You want the right to bear arms? Your beloved America's the British colony they saw. The king funded both sides of the Revolutionary War. The people does not include you. You're a whore. You can verify that in Baron vs. Baltimore. Look on your deed and you'll see the word tenant. Slaves cannot own property, just rented. Social Security's in place to enslave us. The trust fund they blew it. Stewart vs. Jesus. It's all typed down in black and white, decided very long ago how you react and fight. Contingency plans were drawn up exact precise on how to distract your nights from the facts of life. They polarize the people to attack and fight within groups searching for truth and hijack your life. I knew a few patriots who lacked the price. One of them's drunk in a lounge singing Master Night. The other two have disappeared unheard of. Some say suicide, others say murder. Watch out for patriots on the radio. Many know the truth, but they simply won't say it though. I ain't looking for beef, cause mostly are friendly. But Alex Jones seen juices as sculpture is in me. Another money bomb, how much can you lend me? What can I get with 3 quadrillion pennies? Your First Amendment is better than a doornail. Speaking your mind will get you fined or more jail. We're building bombs that you wouldn't believe. You want the right to bear arms, roll up your sleeves. Your First Amendment is better than a doornail. Speaking your mind will get you fined or more jail. We're building bombs that you wouldn't believe. You want the right to bear arms, roll up your sleeves.
The Jewish people seem to run 90% of all the media and all of the Hollywood movies. All right, thanks for the call. Everybody hates the Jews. Oh my God. By the way, Larry didn't say he hated the Jews. The question, why are you so greedy? Why haven't you really just taken a poster of it and thrown it in the bathtub of yourself at a party? Because that's what Jews do.
I mean, Dave Foxman of the Jewish ADL admits that the 8 largest movie studios are run by Jews. Joel Stein also knew it. Joel Stein's a part of Jewish and the media and the Jason, please don't call yourself a K-Fo warrior if you don't even know this. He was asked by reporters, the Jews own Hollywood, and he looked like he was left. He said, well, of course the Jews run it on Hollywood. So what? Sorry, Jason Burgess, just saying, run Hollywood take you away.
The desire to enslave our fellow man is unfortunately intrinsic to the human character. It has been with us since the beginning of time on every continent and in virtually every culture. From ancient Egypt to Babylon to Greece and Rome, Africa, Asia, Europe, the United States. It's a disease of our human nature, yet people are under the impression that it no longer exists.
All right. Well, hey, we're back here with you, Nickie Nix and Will Spencer. Hey, I recognize like Tex Mars and a couple other people in there. I have great respect for Tex Mars, don't get me wrong. I really do. And Payday Monsanto, dude, I have great respect for him as well. So, hey, how are you? Will, you there?
Will is good. I'm just listening.
Cool. Right?
I was trying to read some of the chat stuff.
Yeah, new song, by the way, everybody. Completely new song there. Payday Monsanto. Yeah. I'm gonna work on getting him on air as well pretty soon. But right now, I think I'm pretty happy with the direction things are going. So hey, it's beautiful. That one was quite appropriate. I have to think in a lot of ways. I don't know. What do you think?
I didn't quite get what you said. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. That song I said was quite appropriate in a lot of ways.
Yeah, well, I had a hard time hearing all of everything, but...
Wow, your phone doesn't like you, does it?
I don't know. It's one of those days. It's really cloudy here, and the chemtrails the other day were heavy, and I don't know what the deal is.
Facts about like being able to treat people. How does one handle like being exposed to this?
How does what?
How does a person handle being exposed to these kind of things?
You mean the chemtrails and the GMOs?
Yes.
And everything?
It even says microorganisms in the chat room. And come on, look what's in the Gulf Coast. There's so much, like, it's insane. But we've covered a lot of this so far. We've got an hour left, and man, I am right now really eager to talk about the changes that's happening in the government right now. If you're okay with that, or if you want to go in a different direction, I'll leave it up to you right now.
No, actually, I'm pretty politically active in that respect. If that's where you want to go, that's totally fine. Regarding what you were just saying about the chelation and stuff, I have a tab on my website, bodyelectrician.com. It's called Nature's Chelation, that will explain some of that. And there's a tab called Diet, and in there's some workability things that work and a lot of information. So I do have some resources, and there's a lot of more being put on the web also in the next month or two. So, but yeah, political. You want to go political? Let's go, because there's a lot of information, and most people don't know what really is going on.
Cool. Let's
at
do
all.
a simple difference between Republican and democracy, because I still have a big issue with democracy. So, because we all believe that we're only given two choices. So it's not two wolves and a sheep going for dinner. Let's talk about the people's right as people.
Okay. There's a republic form of government. There's a democracy, which we have today. The corporate government that we have today is not what you think it is. There has been a lot of deception and misrepresentation since around, since for the last 300 years, but since especially about 1930s, when they actually really converted into this democracy system that we have today of corporate government. Most people don't even know that they're corporate entities, and the state really owns them as long as they declare that they're part of the system. So you're going to have to guide me just a little bit where we'd like to go with this. But what we've been told in school is not accurate. They don't even teach civics anymore.
Civics, what a word.
But they don't teach government.
I mean, just the change in words itself. Look at the English language. We look at the vibrational, core essence of each word, and in English that is changed almost to the opposite of what it should be intended. So there's been a major shift in our government now to change things from what they should be. I mean, look, we have Democrats and Republicans now, right?
Right. They all work for the same people, so they're all the same. It doesn't even Ron Paul. They all work for the same people. It's all a big illusion and game. In my opinion, anyhow.
And that's all that really matters, because like everything else, I'm not telling anybody to take what's given for any truth. Do your own research. My God,
right,
please do your own research. Read, and then read some more. Please read.
Yeah. Consider everything you're being told, even me, is a lie, and then go out to seek your own truth. Then you'll be educating yourself, and that's really where the power lies. Don't take my word for it. Don't take Nickie's. Do your own.
Yeah, that in itself is a beautiful thing. Trust yourself. Hey, we have great abilities. Just look, it's even written in the Bible we have great abilities. Free will alone is a beautiful thing to have. The ability to be able to have an effect on our own life and the life around us. And that's exactly what that means. So let's have an effect on our life and the world around us. Let's do what we were given to do. I mean, seriously, let's do something with it. Let's be positive. Let's build up a world, not tear one down.
Well, I'd like to share with you a potential vehicle that I feel is happening to do that. And you can go to republicoftheunitedstates.org and start educating yourself. There's a movement happening. There was the Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution. Our founding fathers put together a republic form of government, and the republic form of government was put aside. They then rewrote the Constitution in about the 30s, and they made a corporate constitution, and they didn't tell anybody. And so everyone's been living under this impression that they still have Constitution like George Washington and all those put together, but it's really not. And there's all of the 50 states, we have re-inhabited the original constitutional republic government, and we're putting that government back into into power again, and it's actually I call it restoring the original government, the Republic de jure government. And this government, that right now, this corporate government, as it's falling apart, this new Republic government is being restored and is going to be coming back into leadership of this country again. So we're all back, we the people again, instead of we the corporate entities, slaves for the industrialists. So that's the good news.
It is, and it's really good. People look at this as like, hey, oh my God, it's so overwhelming. But look at the effect we're having. The powers that be keep expediting their efforts to keep this control grid in place. That in itself shows the power that the people have. And that's what gives me great faith and great comfort in those that surround me.
Right. Yeah, we have power. We just we have power. And you just have to know it. And when you're told there's a vehicle and a way to you can have your power back and express your power, then we the people then gather together. Our community gets bigger, and then we really have power again. You're not a victim anymore to the industrialist mentality.
What a word! We don't realize our own power. No, we're entertained instead. We're shown that programming and American Idol are so much more important. How the microwave beeps and we come running. Wow, microwaves. Talk about destruction of nutrition.
Right.
Oh, you want to get into the ability? I mean, food has a serious energy in itself and can honestly help us.
You say that again?
I said food in itself has a great energy that in itself can honestly help us.
Some foods do. Yes. There's a theory called the rock to rot theory, and it's in a book called Electrical Nutrition. And the author is Denny and Shelley Highstand. They're originally from New Zealand. And they talk in that book about which foods increase our health, our vibratory rate, our electrical health, and in that theory basically says if you put your different foods out on your kitchen counter, all of your foods, and whatever begins to rot or decompose in 7 days is what we should be eating. And that's your raw foods.
What happens to McDonald's food?
Well, we have a friend that has a McDonald's hamburger sitting on his shelf. It's been there for 5 years. There's no microorganism in the environment that even attacks it, not even mold. It's not food.
No, that's not anything. What is that, wood?
It's not food, I'll tell you that, because even bacteria won't eat, or mold won't even eat it. So, and if you take an egg and you crack it on your kitchen counter, that sucker's going to be moldy by tomorrow morning. It's going to start smelling. Or if you take some fruit and lay it there, some ripe fruit, that'll start to mold right away. So, whatever it starts to rot, the food that starts to rot on the kitchen counter within a week, that's what we should be eating and how we should be eating it.
Yeah, by the way, it goes bad, so eat it before it goes bad. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if the microorganisms in the environment consider it food, then we should be eating it. If it doesn't, then we should not be eating it. Because you take, for instance, grain take your corn chips, Nickie. Take your corn chips and lay them on.
Don't do that to me.
I couldn't help it. But if it doesn't, I'm sorry. Sometimes people need a little kick in the butt,
I know, but I got fresh hot sauce on top of them.
Well, put your fresh hot sauce on your salad, or on your hamburger or something, or in your eggs.
I do. I put them on my eggs all the time. I love them on my eggs.
I love that too. But it's that in that particular theory, that's how we are electrical availability. That's how our biology is built. I mean, there's a different ways of calling it. The hunter-gatherer, the primal diet, what's the word? The Weston Price type of thinking, of foods that are, animal products. We don't have a cow's digestive tract, and cows eat lots of vegetation and even grain, which they don't naturally eat grain. But we have more of a wolf or a dog digestive tract, and that's the kind of things we should be eating. At least 75% of our diet should be animal products.
We still have meat with every meal. I really do, and I know it's something I'm actually been moving a little bit more away from, but I still have I have eggs, bacon, and then ham sandwich minimum for lunch, or a hot dog. It's always that, and then there's always a meat product that's the main base for dinner. The only thing that really doesn't have meat is say snacks, and that's all sugar usually, or fruit. So.
Right. Well, fruit's good for us. That's good energy for us in the morning. Is fruit. It helps us digest things. It's got enzymes, minerals. It's got a bit of natural fruit sugars to help us metabolize, and it rots fast.
Yeah, good for the alcohol too. It's all good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, can't forget about wine.
Yeah, that's something most people overlook. Come on, it's pretty simple. I've seen quite a few documentaries that show animals even taking advantage, waiting for the fruit to rot just to get its correct properties.
You cut out there. I'm sorry. This doggone phone.
No, it's okay. I was saying I've actually seen animals, in some documentaries, that wait for some fruit to fall. Once it falls, they wait until it started to rot for the simple reason that they get the alcoholic qualities of it.
Oh, I saw that. That was on, somebody sent me that. It was kind of funny, actually.
Even all the animals, you'd be surprised. I was like, wow. They really did wait. I was surprised.
There was a study done, if you want to talk about animals and stuff. There was a study done, I think it's called Pottinger's Cat, where they took and fed cats the food that we have nowadays, and it took 4 generations. How do I want to say? Their bodies, their biological bodies, degenerated, and
I've seen that with evolution. It seems like we're going the opposite, not increasing. We seem to be decreasing in ability.
Well, we are now. Now they say this generation now, the kids being born now, is one of the first or the second generation that will be unhealthier than the previous generation, just because of the current state of food.
Food. See, we don't seem to consider how important that truly is. Yet it is the simple thing that sustains us, and we take it for granted, thinking that it will be here daily, that it will be here hourly, because that's what we've been accustomed to understand here in the U.S. But that's not the case. And yet things tend to change, and things tend to grow and alter, and we're definitely come about in that time period that there is a great change coming, and it is happening now. And it's very hard for us that have had nothing but abundance to understand.
I don't know what to say to that one.
Oh, abundance? That's kind of one of those weird words, because, see, we can go to a store and get all of our food. That was never the case ever before us.
Right. I know I grew up northern Minnesota, and we had a huge garden and whatnot, but there was times where we were kind of not really too wealthy, but we had a lot of soup as kids. But we still, there's still people on the planet that aren't even have the abundance as we have. That's amazing to me.
Well, hey, since we're getting close to half an hour, I'm sure there's some things you want to cover, like especially, I don't know, our abilities to use the world around us, the energy, the vibrations. If there's anything you want to cover coming up in a half an hour, that's what we have left. So time does fly.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, I'd be more interested at meeting whoever's, if there's any questions or anything, because really, if to me that's important. If our listeners got any questions, to meet them where they're at.
We do. We've actually got Swami Shiva was asking about straight milk, about I guess. Well, yeah, we've got all this argument about homogenized straight milk, fresh milk, all this kind of stuff. So you want to start there when we come back?
Sure. Yep. Let's do the milk when we come back then.
Cool. We'll talk about milk. Perfect. So let me play some quick ads, and hey, we'll be right back there with you, Freedomizers.
Are you wondering about your retirement portfolio? Are you confident your financial advisor is experienced enough to combat climbing interest rates, taxes, and inflation? Stop guessing and go to the expert, Robert Chapman of International Forecaster. When you subscribe to the International Forecaster, you get Robert Chapman's 45 years of experience, concise investment recommendations. Who needs sugar-coated excuses when you can get the hard facts and proven investment leads you can't get anywhere else? Subscribe now for a free introductory copy to Robert Chapman's International Forecaster. Experience the difference. Subscribe now online at the 3Ws.theinternationalforecaster.com. When you subscribe, you can email Robert Chapman directly to obtain tailored investment advice just for you. Don't wait. Get online and subscribe today. The 3Ws.theinternationalforecaster.com.
Freedomizer Radio, waking people up. They have their little puppets and underlings and cliques, and pretty much every government on this planet will do their bidding as they push us into this one-world system. That's how it works. Somebody needs to carve that thing up, and I think I might just be the man for the job. Waking people up. Just your tinfoil. Waking people I got to break down the information. Waking people up. Every time I get to have this conversation, it sends them a little deeper down the rabbit hole. Look a little deeper. Freedomizer Radio, Freedomizer Radio, waking people up.
The greatest form of control is where you think you're free, when you're being fundamentally manipulated and dictated. One form of dictatorship is being in a prison cell and you can see the bars and touch it. The other one is sitting in a prison cell but you can't see the bar, you think you're free.
What the human race is suffering from is mass hypnosis. We are being hypnotized by people like this. Newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers.
We are in a country and in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people. The chasm between what we're told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's paying attention what happens to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about it, and it's all that we claim. And everybody's just walking around, heading the club, we wanna wake up to a dead in the grave. But then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end of days.
Everybody is slaves, only some are aware that the government releasing poison in the air. That's the reason I collect so many guns in my lab. I ain't never cross-flipping, never underprepared. Yeah, they shade sign on me, they just spray it proudly. George Bush, the grandson of Alistair Crowley. They want you to believe the lie of the enemy's Saudi. The enemy ain't Saudi, the enemy around me. It's fluoride in the water, but nobody know that. It's also a prominent ingredient in Prozac. For real? How could any government bestow that? Upon people who believe in political throwback. That's not all that I'm here to present you. I know about the Black Pope and Solomon's Temple. Yeah. About the Vatican assassins and how they will get you. And how they clone Barack Hussein Obama in a test tube.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's paying attention what happens to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling us this now, and no one's talking about it, and it's suddenly clean. And everybody's just walking around, heading the clouds, I wanna wake up to a dead in the grave. But then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end.
Whoever built the pyramids had knowledge of electrical power, and you know that that's the information that they suppress and devour. Who you think the motherfuckers that crashed in the tower? Who you think that made it turn into action an hour? The same ones that invaded your own, the ones that never told you about the skeletons on the moon. Yeah, the ones that poison all the food you consume, the ones that never told you about the Mount Vesuvius tomb. The bird flu is a lie, the swine flu is a lie. Why would that even come as a surprise? Yeah, the polio vaccine made you die. It caused cancer and it cost a lot of people their lives. Do y'all know about Bohemian Grove? How the world leaders sacrifice the children in robes? Lucifer is God in the public school system. I suggest you open up your ears and you listen.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying to what happened to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling this now, and no one's talking about it, and it's suddenly clean. And everybody's just walking around, heading the clouds, I wanna wake up to a dead in the grave. But then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end of days.
The greatest hypnotist on planet Earth is a oblong box in the corner of the room. It is constantly telling us what to believe is real.
You can persuade them that what they see with their eyes is what there is to see. You can't. Because they'll lack in the face of an explanation that portrays a bigger picture of what's happening. And they have.
All right, Freedomizers, we're back here with you, Nickie as we rise above dehumanization. We got to Dr. Will Spencer. Hey, so with us?
I'm here yet.
Yeah, last half hour. Wow, we made it a long while, haven't we?
That sure goes fast. You were right.
All right, so milk.
Milk. Well, it's good enough to make make babies grow. I mean, it's a food, it's a medicine. As long as it's in its raw, whole form, as soon as you start adulterating it, then it becomes a toxin for the most part. I mean, it's full of vitamin precursors like B, your vitamin A or vitamin K. It's got loads of minerals, full of amino acids. I mean, as long as it's in its raw, whole form.
Hey, I'm with you there, because, I was never for, slim milk, anything else. My son got straight-up vitamin D milk. Now, he's lessened over time, all of a sudden, on his own, wants less of it, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But, of course, I did nurse him, almost still 2 years, but 20 months. Quite a while. That's another story in and of itself. So,
well, it's really easy to digest, and I had a client a few years ago that had dementia, and we got him. He was drinking raw milk. He was actually eating a stick of butter a day, about a pint and a half, or a little over a pint of blueberries or some kind of berries, and some bone broth. We were just putting all these different animal products and a little bit of fruit into him. And in 3 months, he went from being in the VA, couldn't hardly dress himself, to getting his driver's license back and moving into a minimal care facility in 3 months. I mean, the guy was totally, he was thankful, and he just had to change his ways. Of course, we put some other things into him, but dietary-wise, that's really all he had. It wasn't a whole lot, but he was getting as much amino acids and into his body so his system could start functioning again and rebuilding itself.
And sometimes it just takes that little change. Starts small, like with the self. Change your diet. You can change your health. It really does take small steps like that.
It does, and one of the issues with I notice lactose intolerance is so huge now.
Yes, that's something that runs in my family very big time.
Really?
I've had sisters and then nieces and nephews that have had to have goat's milk. But that was their alternative, and then even nieces now, my sister couldn't have like milk products while she was pregnant, and then breastfeeding couldn't eat them either. Yeah, right. It seems to be something I never had those issues, thankfully, but my sisters have.
Well, if you're looking at just the milk alone, you're looking at probably the difference of pasteurized cow milk you're allergic to, and then you got to have goat milk, which is most of the time raw, or if it's lightly pasteurized. And if they're both in their raw state, goat or cow, they're almost the same. There's a whole book, it's called The Milk Book by Douglas, and he explains all the, mammal milk is mammal milk component-wise for the most part. So it's
really?
pasteurized milk.
That's what it has to do with more than anything else, is the pasteurization?
Yeah, because when you heat the milk up to the hot temperatures, you're caramelizing the milk sugars. They stick together, and they become, hard to digest. You're killing off the whatever microorganisms that are in there. You're killing the enzymes. You're shutting off most of the minerals. You're distorting something. You're making it imbalanced. And so, but basically, lactose intolerance is the body's inability to process the lactase, which is in the milk sugar, and because it becomes caramelized or burnt. And it's really hard to digest, and that's when your bodies start to get these allergic reactions. You get really mucusy up in the lungs or the sinus cavity.
I'm literally sick.
Yeah, you get sick. But that's really the body protecting itself from the food you're eating, because you're eating a toxin.
When people develop lactose intolerance, what happens then?
Well, the people that develop lactose intolerance usually are eating a high-grain diet. They have a high fungal load, and their enzyme production is being diminished because of the grain-based diet, and you just lose the ability to create lactose.
I've heard about this grain-based idea, especially when it pertains to breads. That comes from some of older people that deal with purely raw foods. And they say that the grain-based is a big issue. They don't have breads or anything with yeast. Yeah,
well, if you want to, we can look at one instance. Grain, that's basically the seed of the plant. The baby of the plant, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, in nature, you have the predator and the prey. Well, plants can't run from their predator. All right? So they've naturally, over eons of time, have developed ways to protect their species. And if people are, if predators are going to eat the babies of any species, and the plants can't run from the predator, they have put things in the seed, which is their baby, to keep the species alive.
See, that's the other thing I've heard, is their defense mechanisms.
That's their defense mechanism. Natural pesticides, in nutrition they call them anti-nutrients, and that basically means that there's components in the seed or in the grain or the nut, which is all the same, that shut off.
The whole idea that whole grain is good for you is pretty much the opposite.
Yeah, but who's telling you? This is where the question of who's telling you what and why becomes important. But to finish the analogy or the information, before we get into that, what happens when we eat grain or grain-based products, or products made with grain in them, they shut off our enzyme production. The protease, the lactase, the amylase, lipase. They to stop the predators from living. They also shut off the reproductive organs so that predator cannot reproduce. So if you can think about what's really wrong with people today, is we have all these digestive disorders and we have a lot of reproductive disorders.
Like irritable bowel and, all these people not being able to get pregnant or cysts
on the ovaries, impotence, then you have Crohn's disease and diverticulitis and IBS and over-acid stomach, so you have to take the purple pill. All these things, if you would just realize, are all coming from ingesting grain and grain-based products and seeds and nuts. I learned that in you learn that in.
Is bread a good idea? Is there an alternative?
Not today's bread. Even in times of old, if you take any anthropological studying, it takes 14 days with a grinding and a fermentation and a sprouting process to deactivate all the anti-nutrients in grain to make them to make grain even a food.
14 days, 2 weeks.
14 days. Now this is where I vary a little bit with Weston Price and Sally Fallon about the sprouting thing, and that just by soaking your grains, just soaking them overnight or for a day or two does not deactivate all the stuff, all the negative effects of grain. Sorry, it just doesn't work that easy. But going through all that work to make it a food, there's a lot of other ways, a lot easier ways to get food other than doing that with grain, because then you got the whole farming aspect of it and the storage and all that tied into it.
So what about like flatbread, like non-yeast, and what about just flour that has been disseminated? We're not talking whole grain, but white flour.
Well, if you're just looking at that, there's still components of the anti-nutrients in there, but then on top of that, we have the high starch content, which leads to diabetes and, the glucose, the insulin problem. You have insoluble fiber, which the body does not break down. Insoluble means undigestible.
So what does wheat plant become, do you know? What happens when it's no longer a flour? Yeah, what happens when it's no longer a seed?
The wheat is a grass.
Oh.
And it's a grass. I mean, if you raise wheat like as pasture, the cow or the animal, the ruminant animal you have eating it, it'll keep coming back if you keep mowing it. It's a grass.
Nice.
So basically, we're eating grass seed if you're eating wheat.
So even the idea of like corn and corn chips. What about popcorn? Same thing, right? It's the popping of a seed.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's still a product of a seed. I mean, me personally, I live what I practice what I preach. When I first learned about this, because I had a lot of digestive problems, and I had a lot of, I had over 75 allergies and asthma, and I was my first client, if you will. As soon as I realized that and changed, which was about 8 years ago, I've had 2 pieces of bread in 8 years, and those 2 pieces of Ezekiel bread I ate, I had such cramping and gut ache from it, and my insulin spiked like you wouldn't believe. I've got my kids, my own children that I birthed at home myself. They live this also, or at least the 2 of them that live with me do. They don't eat any grain unless they go to school and trade their good lunch for their school lunch.
I believe in complete homeschooling, and that's actually taking care of our kids. Oh, what a concept!
I do too, but I agree with you, but I don't have that option right now.
Most parents don't even cook for their kids, so come on. Most parents don't even care what food goes into them as long as it's fast enough and gets them to their TV quicker, so that they can watch American Idol before the show starts. Come on.
Well, then now we're getting back into responsibility and whatnot, and that's just not even that's not popular, So I want to take the much responsibility as I can to have that, so my kids are healthy, and so then they can have their kids healthy. But most people don't think like that.
And maybe a higher sperm count, and maybe be able to actually produce in the following generation. That's another thing most people don't take into consideration. How about your ability to progenate?
That.
I know, an embarrassing subject, isn't it?
Yeah, here you go again, going off on...
No. That's okay. I think I saw Knucklebones in the chat room. He probably understands how I can be an embarrassing person to have on air with. But he's another host here, and I'm always stalking him. He thinks I am.
It's kind of fun. I enjoy being on your show because it's kind of fun, kind of wandering all over the place,
Seriously though, but when it comes to the ability to have children, people don't seem to realize how much the food we take in seriously has an effect on it.
Right. Well, in agriculture, okay, because we're mammals, cows are mammals. In agriculture, if we had the infertility rate in agriculture as we do in human population, nobody would be farming because we'd go out of business. It's all about health, and it's all about they know how to feed animals to make them healthy, but they don't. The medical field and the nutritionist field do not apply the same techniques and information and practicalities to humans, because then they wouldn't have to go and buy the services from the medical field, even natural or pharmaceutical, for that matter. And the fertility in human beings comes back into play so easily if you just learn what is food and what is toxin, and to get your gut back working, and the fertility rate just goes right back up.
Yeah, people think that once it's lost, they think it's automatically completely lost.
No, I mean, that's a fallacy. Yeah, that's a total fallacy.
Nice word.
Hey, Roger.
It really is. It seriously is. We have the ability to heal ourselves no matter at what point we reach. We really, truly do. The body is an amazing thing, and life finds a way, like the old sentence says, Seriously, life always finds a way.
Right, yeah, the body will try to compensate at all costs to stay alive. Even in this degenerated, sick, chemical-laden environment we live in, it still lives. That amazes me. I agree with you. It's totally amazing.
And that includes our ability to procreate, so.
Right.
Hey,
right.
We'll surprise somebody someday, but seriously, it takes just health. Just look how simple food can have an effect on the body.
Yep. I mean, was it Hippocrates or Hippocrates back in, the 300 and 400, I don't know, BC, AC, whatever. 2,000 years ago, he was saying, let your food be your medicine. Well, that doesn't quite hold any water anymore, because our food is so devalued. It's actually a toxin for the most part. But food is medicine if you just replace the missing elements and use food. But it's what you're calling food that's the problem. I mean, bread is not food, not in my book. Bread is a toxin.
So if people wanted to find something that you had to offer, where would they find it? Where would they find these alternatives that could help them with what they have available to them currently?
Well, www.bodyelectrician.com, www.environotics.com, ENVIRONOTICS. That's my store, kind of. There's a lot of information there. We're updating all our websites and information. We got lots and lots of stuff to add as soon as Ralph gets to work and gets everything going for us. But it's about education, and it's about time we start being told the truth about what is food, what's not, what is healthy, what's not. We're not being told the truth, even from the natural world. They just don't know. It's been compromised by the industrialists on all levels, pretty much.
Oh, yeah, they don't want you healthy. They want your mind numb and kept within its little box so that you don't have an effect or realize that you are affected by the world around you.
Right, yeah, most people don't know they live in a box, They're happy living in their little cell, and they go to the work in their cubicle, and they do their thing, and they go home, and they watch their football, and, Saturday they drink their beer, and they go to church, and then they go back to work, and they're asleep. They're living in the...
Yeah, that's what I always say. You leave your house, you're in shoes, you walk on concrete to your car, you get in your car with your windows rolled up, so you have recycled air inside your vehicle, to walk then from shoes across blacktop to a steel building with rebar and concrete and windows to more recycled air, to then repeat it on the way home and then just to be in a little box as well and disconnected from everybody near you. And we wonder why we're sick. Yeah, we wonder why we're sick.
Yeah. But it's coming to an end. I mean, I feel happy about all this stuff happening because it's just the nature, the natural outcome of living in an unnatural environment. It's got to come to an end. It cannot continue. It's not sustainable. It's not healthy. And there's an unconscious part of us as a human species that knows this. And I think that's what's waking up, and that's what's happening. Is we're getting tired of this stuff, this lie, this that we're being told is the way it is, and it's really not.
It's not. Oh, can't we ever trust ourselves? Can't we look to ourselves for our own ability, our own powers?
Well, that's what I try to help people to get in touch with, is that little voice inside that we should be listening to, that little still voice inside of our head.
Yeah. And we all feel this change happening in the world around us. We are seriously connected to it. Whether it experiences through subconscious or our dreams, or consciously in our everyday lives, or physically through our health, this change happening, whether we process it or not, is seriously showing its ugly head at the moment.
Right. Yep. This is... What's that?
So get healthy.
Well, that saying that is good, but then there again, you got to look out what we're currently in the general populace being told is healthy is, you know what I mean?
It's like normal. The definition of normal.
Right. Yeah. A setting on your washing machine. That's really what normal is. There's no such thing as normal in my book. I find this kind of health, that what I've come to know as healthy, it works. It's relatively easy. It's just the hard part is getting people to look at this as even an option of health, because they've been so programmed for the last 100 years or more that what I'm doing is not very good. And you have to go to the doctor. You have to go to the drugstore, or even the herb store now, and get your prescription filled, if you will. That's not health. Managing symptoms is not health. That's not what healthy means.
It's like being pregnant. It's happened thousands upon thousands of years before you were here. Do you have to have a doctor see you every week to let you know you're doing it right?
Well, if you've been dumbed down, you do, I guess, if you're losing touch with stuff.
Yeah, or maybe if you're not eating correctly, maybe so, but,
Right.
But see, that's the thing. Now they want to give you all these alternatives. Let's give you all these shots and injections, and it all comes from us eating fast food and not actually having control over our own bodies, our own energies, our own connections. Well, hey, we've got a few minutes. Do you want to touch on, the idea of, telling people about the Republic and the idea that we seriously can gain our own power back and there is a way?
Oh, absolutely. If you go to a website, it's called republicoftheunitedstates.org. Okay? The Republic form of government has been restored. It's in the process now of gaining strength, and because it is a government for the people, by the people, it requires people to realize that they need to join and leave walk away from this corporate entity we have. There is an option, it's free. And the government doesn't exist, the Republic form of government doesn't even exist without the people, because it's for the people, by the people. And it's that easy. I mean, you can get a hold of me, send me an email, or go to the website. What did I say it was again?
I'm putting it in the chat room right now.
Yeah, republicoftheunitedstates.org.
Oh, somebody beat me to it. Perfect.
Yeah, it's real. It's happening in all 50 states. You go to the Contact Us page, you'll see a list of all the websites from each state. all your contact information from each state. It's that simple. I live out here in Pennsylvania. There's a huge growing here in Pennsylvania. It's real. And that's where our power lies as individuals, is within our state government. Because really the state and the county government has got more power than the federal government.
At least according to our Constitution and the Republic upon which it was founded.
Exactly. And that's what we're bringing back into reality right now, is that mentality, because that's not the current mentality that's in power. The corporate government has us as basic slaves. They own us because we have our Social Security number and our birth certificate to prove that we are corporate entities, but there is a difference. We, the real person, are not the corporate entity. And in knowing that and knowing how to talk to those fools, then we gain our power back through the common law and through a collective sovereign consciousness through our state nation. And I mean, I could go on for hours just on that, but...
Oh, it would be nice not to enter the sovereign system without having to file paperwork with the government to adhere to it. Because to me, that completely goes against the idea of sovereignty, but...
Right. And you're really not a sovereign when you live in that. And the other thing is, when you really understand about the republic form of government, it's not a bunch of individual sovereigns standing all by themselves. It's a group or a community consciousness, a bunch of sovereigns standing together in a state nation where you have your international power. Actually, you have enough strength to market internationally because you're really a nation. And that's where the federal government was set up to really allow communication between the different state nations, and then to market your goods, your natural resources, your commodities internationally with other nations and between your state nations. And to protect us
internationally, not to police the world, not to police the individual states, but to adhere to the nation, to the republic.
Absolutely, yep.
And there
are so many people in the military right now that are getting and understanding that they're in a system that's really not what they think it is, because I've got friends that are coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq, and they were told and trained to do some pretty grotesque things to other human beings.
Yep.
And
to desensitize, to dehumanize.
They're dehumanized. That's what I like about your little, your whole show here, is about waking up out of that. Is a possibility right now, and I believe it's either martial law or it's getting this republic government back into restored fully. That's our option. There is no other option, and I've been looking for 15 years. This is the only option that I see that's viable.
Isn't it amazing how everything is connected?
Absolutely. It is. No accidents in my world.
Yeah, coincide, not coincidence, right?
Right. So I encourage everybody to go to the republicoftheunitedstates.org, check that out, at least give it a thought. I don't agree with everything on there, but overall, if it's an option of martial law, New World Order, or the restored constitutional republic form of government, if that's our only two options, I'm by all means going to put all my energy into the republic form of government.
And if anybody doubts, next time you go to court, look at the gold trim flags. That's all I got to say. It shows we're in martial law already. I just got to say that.
We're all under admiralty law. The whole corporate entity is running everything under international trading, maritime rules, and absolutely, you're correct. As soon as you walk through. Oh, go ahead.
We're running out of time. Give them one last chance to get a hold of you.
If you want to get a hold of me, bodyelectrician.com. Give our office a call, 610-417-7248. Skype me, Will Spencer, just with one L, W-I-L. We are internationally. We have clients and customers all over the planet and growing every single day. So we're here to help you gain power and get educated and get your health back into your own hands instead of letting the guys with the stethoscopes and white coats tell you what to do.
Beautiful, beautiful. We got 60 seconds. Hey, everybody, I love it. Dr. Will Spencer. Oh, VMSP. See, I'm eating hot sauce, too. Ooh, fresh veggies. Good for you. VMSP. He's also an author, researcher, does so much. You really got to look him up. Seriously, follow the links. Check him out. Talk to him. He's willing to talk to you. It's very important we all realize the connections and the energy and the ability we all have. Members in the chat room, 610-417-7248. So, hey, we're going to end this here with Nickie Nicks and Will Spencer. We rise above dehumanization. And here's Johnny Cash one more time. I got to say it, you know. Against the Federal Reserve, F the Fed, you know, big middle finger. If they tell you no, give them a big middle finger. Here we go, Freedomizers.
Federal Reserve, you've been living hell.